Yes, Stan, the answer is yes, I do.
I might be going there either next month or the month after.
You're going there?
Might be.
All right. It's got to be a meetup. East Coast meetup.
Stan's been like everywhere, man.
Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday Night Forum. Despite contrary opinions, we have started on time. Right, Gary?
I am not one who believes that he did, but yeah, we'll go with that.
We have to wait for the TV. You know the way the ref has to wait for the
commercials
TV
and stuff.
networks?
Yeah, we have commercials. Yeah, right.
Welcome, Gary, to the Thursday Night Forum.
Hello, Ray. Hello, Stan. Hello, Tony. Everybody in the chat. Hello.
Red John. Listen, if you build it, they will come, and they will come. Yeah, look, I'm not crying. You're crying. So I wanted to get that out the door early. Arsenal's injury crisis. I'm going to call it the injury lull, Tony. It threatens the North London derby.
Fucking hate my international. Hey, you had all summer to do that. What other sport do you start it, then you have a playoff, and you have all this stuff, you stop it 3 weeks after your season starts? It's just bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, welcome to Thursday Night Forum, Tony. It might have been 2 weeks off, but Tony has come back the same Tony as we left him at. We'll be talking about crayon boxes tonight, I think. Stan, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, good evening to everyone on the panel, people in the chat box, and can I just say I'm really liking. Oh, he's changed it. I preferred Gary's your previous angle when it was further away, because I got to see the magnificence of all of those curtains. There you go. I'm loving that.
Well, I got to go back
like
to the. Well, there we go.
Can't you like give us shapes now?
It's real funky, man. Right. I like it.
What, Tony?
Right, can't you make on StreamYard now? You can do shapes around your pictures. That can be circles.
That sounds like work, Tony.
Yeah, I don't like to do too much of that. I do have a job, contrary to popular belief. I do have a job as well. Lawrence, how are you tonight?
They don't. You me, right?
Evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm just checking to see if there's any white on any on my shirts. See if it clashes with Tottenham.
Yeah, and we'll be having those the third strip, right? The dark, the black strip on Sunday, because red clashes with white. It's a thing apparently. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah. So
it's what do we make? We have to wear red shorts. That's bizarre to me. If they can't, both teams have white shorts on.
Yeah.
Well, it just means that they can't wear their whatever shirts they typically wear when they come to visit us. So unless the rules change, when it goes to the Emirates. So we'll see.
Red John said, who's Odegaard's replacement, right? 16-year-old Ethan Nwaneri, as if Arteta asked for a 16-year-old to win us the Premier League. Sack Edu. I think we have a squad, and we'll talk about it tonight. I think we have a squad of options, right? We have a lot of players who can play, in a few different positions, allows us flexibility. I think personally it'd be very dodgy to throw Ethan Nwaneri into a North London derby, but you never know. Kids have been thrown into these big games. Cesc Fabregas, Jack Wilshere, they've done it before. But it would be a lot to ask for Ethan Nwaneri. Riddy, welcome to the show as well. Luca's in the house. Welcome, Luca, and all the way from Australia. Football with Brownie. Morning, guys. All right.
He keeps trying to get further and further away from the law, and just Jimmy's going to be sitting there in Antarctica by himself.
Tony never misses an opportunity. That's what I love about Tony. He goes for the kill each and every time. Right, Tony?
Yep.
You're ruthless.
Go big or go home, right?
Go big or go home. So, Tony, since I have you in a talkative manner, what happened to Martin Odegaard, and what are we going to do in replacement of Martin Odegaard? How long
I'll
does he
tell
have?
you. I'll tell you.
Yeah, go for it.
I
It
was
wasn't
just
your
doing
question.
I was just doing a Tony just because. Why not? It was just the
Very
other
good.
day. I was just walking down the street and I
Very
put
good impression. Very
my
good.
left foot in front of my right foot. It was crazy. There you go. Oh, Tony, were you talking? Sorry.
Go,
Didn't know.
just go drink some of your coconut water. Or ride your bike that Ray lives. So that special seat you had.
All right. This is
Touch up.
Zinchenko's chance. He's wanted to have in midfield. It's up to him to take his
It's not allowed
chance
though.
with both hands.
We
What?
discussed it. It's not allowed.
Put him in there.
Not
He's
allowed in
not
midfield.
allowed.
We discussed this already. Apparently, he's not allowed. So it's not even up for debate.
All right. So what's the prognosis on Odegaard? Is it 3 months? I'm hearing 3 months.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard
See,
30,
what?
I
thought
heard
it was up
3
for a few
weeks to
weeks.
start with.
I could be
How did
way
it-
off on this one, Stan. I could be way off.
How did 3 weeks become 3 months?
Okay. What is it, Tony? Is it 3 weeks or is it 3 months?
I heard it was 3 weeks, but you have to wait for the swelling of those things to go down to really see how damaged it is. So maybe you got
Apparently,
a
it looked
second
like
scan.
size.
To be
Size
fair,
of the
when it comes to foot injuries, I am going to listen to Tony. To be fair,
Yeah,
he does know what he's talking
True.
about. There.
Yeah.
He's been through it.
Well, you know what? One thing I will say is when he was going onto the plane, he didn't have a boot on. So I mean, that's probably more because of the swelling. But I think also, I thought he would have a boot on anyways, just to stabilize the
Yeah.
foot to keep it, make it heal faster. So without
It's
the boot,
heavily strapped.
I can only assume it wasn't that bad. So we'll see. But you know what?
No,
They were supposed to have a squad anyway, so it shouldn't matter, right?
no matter what,
Squad the
no
way
matter
they
what,
had the
what
squad
way,
the way it was, so they shouldn't have any issues with what to do next.
no matter what way you look at it, our squad is so under strength. It's unbelievable, which shows why we had a poor transfer window.
Yeah.
Which is why questions have got to be asked of Arteta and Edu as why they did not bring in the players that were required to give us a fighting chance against Man City.
Yep. As much as I want to hope that you were wrong about this one, Lawrence, you're being proven more right than wrong. I would believe.
So
And it has
Arsenal should have planned for Rice to get a stupid second yellow. Should have planned for Calafiori to get raked on the back of his leg with a guy who got flipped up by his own teammate. So it was almost not necessarily friendly fire, but and then you have to let me finish.
One at a time,
and then we hear Erdogan is injured. Then he's not injured. Now he's really injured. Yeah. All right. Tomiyasu and Jesus, that's just typical that they're going to get injured. So those are things that we can live with because we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but
right?
we have 7. We went in knowing that we have 7 players that can't give us over 20 games because they get injured. 8 if you include Tierney. That's still.
But we have backups for all of them, right? So those aren't the issues.
We don't have 8 backups for those.
No, we have. They're not. Some of them aren't even starters, right?
Gary,
Tomiyasu is not a starter for us. Jesus isn't a starter for us, right? Partey and Jorginho can switch off. We don't need both. They're not going to play the whole season. We know this, right? Zinchenko is way down on the bench, right? The other players are players that have stood up to the test of time, right? So
Gary, it sounds like, and this is rational if you're thinking this way. It sounds like luck. You're sort of saying it's more bad luck than bad planning, Gary.
I think they have answers. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think that
Yeah, but you're
well,
supposed
no
to
no
plan
Hold
team
on,
your
hold
stuff
goes
on.
like that.
no team goes
Nope.
through a season without injury and suspension concerns. That happens all the damn time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's why you prepare better.
You can't prepare for all these injuries to start a
Yeah,
season.
you can.
No, you can't because you have a limited
Yeah,
number of players you can
Gary,
keep on the squad, right?
You got 25 players.
Gary,
And
Gary,
what number do we have
Gary,
now?
you look at Manchester. Gary, you look at Manchester City. They've got cover in every fucking position. Okay, where ours is threadbare. You know, it just needs 2 or 3 players to get niggled, and we're fucked. And this is what has happened. This is what I've been telling
You don't even
everyone.
know. You haven't even see how we play with these injuries yet.
Oh,
I don't
This is
know.
all up.
there's
This is all up to Arteta now to figure out how to play with the players he's got.
This will be borne out as the weeks go on. This will be borne out, and my words could be inconsequential because we may actually deal with this injury situation, with this suspension situation. Lawrence, you're right. Maybe Man City, pound for pound, have 25 players on sitting in their squad that are world class. But I do believe that we have upgraded to the point of where you look in every position, apart from 1 or 2 vital positions in our team, maybe 2 positions. The other 9 you can look at and say we have very adequate replacements for if one of the main players gets injured.
But then you have three to four youth players that's never played a minute for us.
Yeah.
That's part of that.
Who are the 3 players, Tony?
I don't know. I sent you the lineup, the full team squad. You can
Skelly's
look.
been playing with the youth team.
I don't know. I
Gala's
said
been playing
you.
with the youth team. The only player that really is established as a senior player is Nweri. So I don't know
So
what players you're talking about.
we're
That's
gonna
what
have
I'm
to
saying.
see.
We
They're
might
not
have to play them
experienced.
now because we got injuries, but they weren't part. They weren't part of the setup to go with.
I
Stan.
mean, let's be realistic now. Let's stop dreaming all the time, as people on here seem to think. People live in a fantasy world. We're not going to see these players who are injured back in the first team squad until Christmas time. Okay, that's how long it's going to take for most of them to recover. Okay,
Why?
what are we supposed to do with them?
Who's? I mean, they're saying
You're
Odegaard
not a
could be 3
doctor. You
weeks.
don't know this. You're just
We
making a
don't know.
guess.
3
Making a
weeks or
worst
3
case
I'm not
months.
saying
scenario,
I'm
right?
being a realist.
No,
I've done
you're
research,
guessing.
right?
You're guessing. You don't know anything about the injuries at all.
No, so
You have
you,
no
so
clue.
you.
I
Yes.
didn't
So
say they're
you
coming
got
back
no clue,
tomorrow.
mate.
I didn't
You're
say they're
just
coming back
starting
tomorrow.
off. You're in denial, mate. You're in denial.
Ah,
You always come
ah,
back with an excuse, mate. That you're in denial.
I
Let's
don't
face
think
facts, right?
we got enough players to beat that team this
Oh,
weekend. I
leave
don't.
it out.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
you don't know your team then. You absolutely don't know your team, and you
I
don't know
know
who we're
my team.
playing.
I've been
You can.
following
Lawrence.
this
You
team,
Lawrence.
can if
mate.
you think we're going to lose this weekend because
Lawrence.
we've got some injuries. You have
Gary.
not one.
Lawrence. Okay, Lawrence. You were here saying Aston Villa is going to turn us over in the second game of the season. What happened? We went to Aston Villa and took care of business. You know, at
Well,
some point
it wasn't a good.
some point you have to stand up and say we have a bloody good team. This Arsenal team is bloody good. Good, and
that
you know,
The
2-0 was
only
lucky,
high
reason
man.
probability.
the only reason we won the Villa game was that save by David Raya.
Sure,
Because
and
after
he's a
that
goalkeeper.
happened, we
He's part of the 11 players who has to do their job on the day. David Raya did his job on the day. You know what I mean? And you can play.
because
You can play this.
because up until that point we were bang average, right? It was just down to bad finishing by Villa that we didn't lose that game. But I said when he made that double save in the second half, things changed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all right, we won at Villa, fair enough. Okay. But I'm just saying right now, with these injuries we've got, that these players are not going to be fully fit until Christmas time, beginning of January. Okay. And now with what have we got to rely on now? Okay. What happens if Saka gets injured on Saturday? Then what do we do? What's the plan of action next?
Yeah.
Do you think Sterling is going to be the answer to our solutions? No fucking way.
Okay. I mean, this is why we get together and we have a brisk conversation every week. And we
I'm
all
just
have
glad-
different opposing points of views. I'm going to bring Stan in a minute, but Tony, go ahead.
Stan's been asking a question for 2 years. What happens when Odegaard goes out? Now we'll find out. Well,
Yeah.
what's happen, Stan? What do you think's happen? So, Martin.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna. I have been saying. I think in pre-season and throughout the transfer window, that my biggest fear is when we're looking at what we need to do in the transfer window. For me, it's like, well, what happens if Odegaard, heaven forbid, should be out for a couple of months? And now, if the rumours are right and it is 3 months, then my worst fears have come alive, because there isn't anybody in the squad who can really go into that position and be creative for us. We've had 3 midfielders go out, and we've only brought one in Merino. You know, whether you think El Neni is still a body, right? El Neni went out, ESR got sold, and also T-Bag's got back on loan, and we only brought in Merino, and he's unavailable. And now Odegaard's been injured, and there's no answer. There is no way that you can put Renari in for his first game away from home against Tottenham
In a hostile environment.
I just don't think that is the right move.
Yeah.
Did something similar happen to Charlie Patino?
All right. Now let's delve into.
Hold on. So for me, I actually think that Edu and Mikel Arteta, they've dropped the ball a little bit on this, because whatever you think of someone like T-Bag or not, he's not available now. All right, he's injured in Porto, but he might not have been injured if he was still here. But we don't have that option now. You know? And we're looking at, and when people are looking at, well, I've seen people putting up the team that they would put up for the North London derby. A lot of it, they have a double pivot of Jorginho and Partey. I've seen that in nearly most people's selections for the game. And for me, that's just an accident waiting to happen. Have both of them playing in the match at the same time. Because both of them are not really reliable when it comes to playing for 90 minutes at the moment. So I think that you have to start one, and you have to have the other one ready on the bench to come in and take up the slack when the other one runs out of steam. Because if you start them both together and one of them does have a bad game or they run out of steam, who's coming in? Who's going to come in to play in that position? So we need to start one, not both of them. I just think that's an accident waiting to happen.
And this is why in the Brighton game, I wanted Jorginho to get some rhythm. I wanted Jorginho to get some minutes into his legs. I don't know if he went away and played with Italy, that he's been playing games or not. Not really been watching all of the international games. Red John said it's almost as if we bought Fabio Vieira for this situation. Then for some reason we loaned the backup out. How is Waneri better than T-Bag? I think in time you'll see Waneri's qualities are probably better than Fabio Vieira, but there's no way you could throw Ethan Waneri into a North London derby.
I don't think T-Bag's any better than Denny Ceballos. He's probably worse than Denny Ceballos.
Yeah.
He could have played for a year and a half.
The reality is, Stan's right. The numbers don't add up. I think there's been an active and concerted effort for the club to reduce the numbers in the squad, not actually increase them, and bring more quality in and less quantity. And we're talking about players. Unfortunately, we're talking about players that Mikel Arteta did not want to use last season in Emile Smith-Rowe, Fabio Vieira, and the Egyptian king. Help me out there. The one that moved on. El Neni moved on. Ethan Waneri has to go back to high school after playing Northern Derby the following day. That's how young that kid is. Listen, there's a section of the fans, and one of them on this panel that wanted academy players to come in. Now you have them. You have to understand that they have to play in the right moments. in the season. It's not going to be in North London Derby, but Ethan Nwaneri has to get minutes this season as well in order for him to progress. He's been deemed good enough to be in the squad and good enough to play games, you know. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the streams. Keeps me mentally in tune to get to interact with others. Exactly, Retro Rewind. That's always important. Let's remember those people who have mental health issues, and it's good when you actually hear that, you know, the interaction is a good thing for people as well. What we do here,
they like our banter, right?
they like the banter as well, and some people like what you bring, Tony, as well.
That's why Thursday's viewership's gone up since I've been back.
Lawrence, Arteta is not the one signing the players. It's Edu. You're putting Edu's incompetence on the job of Arteta. Listen, I think they both have a hand to play in this.
I'm sure they both do.
I think,
for example, Sterling. I guarantee you with Sterling, you know, Mikel Arteta was pushing for that because he has experience as a player.
Yeah.
Same for Gabriel Jesus, right?
Exactly.
I think it's a dual. I think they work in tandem. Maybe one has an overriding, and it's probably Edu might have an overriding say if it's something that's really out of hand. But they definitely work together on these things.
Yeah. I know Lawrence and Stan has verbalized it. I believe obviously Tony and Gary probably feel the same way, that the club has not done enough in this transfer window to insulate us from concern and worry about this season and about availability of players. Yes.
My problem with it is, Ray, is like these players keep leaving. We keep on loaning them out, and then sometimes selling them. But basically, all these guys keep leaving, but you never bring the same number back in. So your depth is getting worse constantly.
Yeah, but
because
Tony, you have to register. There's 25 players in the squad. What we've done is we've moved on players that have not been good enough in quality, or
we could have had better ones in there. Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Reddy said we still do not have the squad to compete in multiple competitions. Reddy, I think we've raised the level of quality in the lower levels of the squad. Like, you telling me that Reece Nelson is better than Raheem Sterling? I don't think so. You bring in Raheem Sterling over Reece Nelson, and that's an upgrade, right? That's what I feel anyway. We talked about El Nani moving on. A lot of us rated him, but a lot didn't. And
There was a replacement for Eddie. There wasn't one.
No replacement for Eddie.
Again, the numbers. That's what I mean. The numbers don't add up, do they? They don't add up. It's like Mikel Arteta. I think he looks at the squad, right, and he looks at the whole roster, if you want to call it that, and goes, that roster, I think, can win us the league if everybody's on their game and they're fit and healthy. But that's not reality. There's always going to be injuries, and we have these players that can do multiple jobs. So you've got a Tommy Asu who can play either right back, left back, or centre back, which is great. But when he's injured, now we don't have that person for three positions. Do you see what I'm getting?
Yeah.
We have a lot of these players that can fit in a few places, but when they're injured now, then we kind of lose cover for more than one, and then we have to try and slot people into positions where they're not really comfortable.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I was watching a David Seaman podcast. Jorginho was on it, and what he said at Chelsea, if they couldn't win the league, they'd always take a trophy home, of some sort, a cup of some sort, a European trophy of some sort, when he was with them. That's the mentality that we have to have at Arsenal now. We can't get it if we can't get the league. We've got to get a cup. Tony?
So are we to have Kivior this weekend?
What?
I said, is Kivior to be starting this weekend?
I think we'll go through the team a little bit later as well, and we'll talk about the key positions on the field. I think it's going to be a situation, Gary, not to tip our hat too much, but I think it's going to be a situation where we have a set back five and a set front three maybe, and we're going to have to figure out what's going to happen in midfield, Gary. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh,
We still, I mean, unless things have changed, we still got one of the best defenses in the league.
yeah,
Right. And
exactly.
we've got
And
a decent
oh,
attack. Right.
it's Tottenham.
That's gotten us goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you said, the midfield is where Arteta's going to have to get a little imaginative. He's going to have to get his imagination out there and figure out how he's going to get three players to work
Yeah.
together in that middle of the pitch. I
And
mean,
it's
I think this goes to the point of why did we have to spend the money on the Italian? Could have got a midfielder, could have got an attacker.
Italian.
Instead,
Yeah.
instead you get your 7th fucking left back. We need 7 left backs and six
Yeah, look at
center backs.
Calafiori. Calafiori is a player who, maybe Real Madrid was after him. And he chose to come to Arsenal. We better do right by him as well and give him enough game time and give him.
I've seen. I mean, Timber or Calafiori can move into the midfield, so
Yeah.
I don't think that's not an issue. It's whether or not Arteta actually sees them that way.
I mean, and
he always brings in players that supposedly are versatile, right? Everybody, most players, unless they're the best player on the pitch, which we don't have, we have few of those, is versatile enough to move around the pitch. So this is the time.
There's got to be
the reason. One of the things that I've said, when these injuries happened, is when Erdegaard was healthy, everybody said Nweri was right behind him. Now that he's injured for some reason, Nweri's not the right fit, and I'm like, well, it doesn't work. It's either he was or he is or he isn't, and so yes, it's probably too much to ask for him to put him in that game, but you're gonna have to play him at some point. It's always going to be this or that. No matter when you bring him in, it's always going to be an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be, this is a must win. Oh, we can't have him play that, right? And it's going to be against the lower teams. Or it's going to be, oh, it's a North London derby. He can't play in that because it's the big game, the biggest game. We need to stop the rot, all that kind of stuff. So he'll never get to play because it's always going to be something. Every game matters to us. If he's in the squad, he needs to be able to play, or else he shouldn't have never been in the squad. And we said, how many years have we said this? Don't have players in the squad if you're not going to play them. And it doesn't matter against who, right? If they can't play in this game because it's City, well, you've basically just handcuffed yourself, all right? I'd rather go get another player that you'll play no matter what. Like, he's already shown trust in Kiri, where he brought him into Anfield. I bring that example up all the time. If he's able to do that, right, then any player that he brings into this squad and is happy to have on this squad can play in pretty much any game, right? That's the trust that he needs to put into his players, But that's me.
Okay.
I think some of our fans, right? They have pre-season fever, and they kind of overbuild like guys that they don't usually see, like the academy kids.
But you're gonna have to play them at some point.
Yeah,
why are they coming? Like, why are you wasting their time in preseason then if you have no inkling, no plan to bring them into the squad? It makes no sense. You're wasting your time, right?
Well, why were they always on the team sheets last year? They never played.
You were
making up the
same
numbers
drum as I am. I'm saying if they are in the squad, if they're on the bench, and you need a skill set that they possess, they should get to play.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have we talked about this? We talked about this many times. We don't want Nketiah to play, but Havertz is having a nightmare out there, right? He's got no answer, blah, blah, blah. He's sitting on a yellow maybe, right? Nketiah is supposed to come into the game if you need to switch things up, right? Won't
Let's
do it.
get through.
Becker's having a bad game.
Few comments here.
Same thing, you bring in these players, or else why do you have them in the squad?
Yeah, definitely agree with that, Gary. Let me get through a few comments here and catch up. I sometimes get accused of getting way behind in chat, unfairly, I believe, by Tom, mainly by Tom. I blame Arteta for tactic snuffer signings. Edu spent the entire transfer window in San Sebastian, penny haggling for Mourinho when we could have just activated the buyout clause for 40 million. Hey, it took a while for Calafiori as well. Colonel, are you locked up somewhere? Do you need to be rescued? It was BX Gunner. Welcome, BX Gunner. I'm Stevens here. Great try by management to make us forget about our squad problems by announcing Arteta's new contract. We should be hearing about a new kid for more distraction from poor transfer window. More on that a little bit later. Arteta signing a 3-year contract extension. We should have recalled Odegaard from the Norway camp after his first game. Never mind allowing him to join there after a Brighton injury. Yeah, it's a tough one. Players want to play for their national team. He is the national captain as well.
Not unless you're Ben White.
Unless you're Ben White, he doesn't want to play for the national team.
But supposedly they're mending bridges so he can come back.
Yeah, right. We'll see how we look come Sunday. Then we can assess the situation. Yeah. Lawrence Man City have squad depth because they cooked the Bucks. That's why they have 115, because they're using fake sponsors to pump the club with the owner's own money. That's true in terms of the wages that they're paying, I'm sure. They've got their transfer fees and their net spend is great because they sell well, but take into account the wages as well, because that all comes in the full package for Man City. A more defensively minded Arsenal in the North End and the way may be beneficial. As last year, we stayed attacking and we almost got punished against Tottenham. Tottenham woke up in the last 20 minutes in springtime. I was visiting family in Ireland then, and we were in the race with Man City. My nephew, who's a City fan, was not happy with the first 20 minutes of the game because Arsenal raced into a 2-0 lead. Got to have chest. You got to go to North London Derby, to North London, to the Tottenham shithole, and go there and win the game. You know.
How did you go to North London when you're already in North London? Right.
You travel 4 miles.
This is such a big test, man. Is to see how we can actually cope in this. In no matter what Tottenham are doing in the league, they always raise their game against Arsenal. It's the derby match, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what we do without Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard not in our midfield. It's going to be interesting to see the selection. Probably going to be interesting to see whether there'll be a tweak or change in the formation.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think Gabriel Jesus is ready to play. So there's questions that has to be answered, right? Who's going to play through the middle? Will he stick with Havertz and do something else there? Or does Havertz have to come back into the midfield and he tries something else in that position? A lot of people seem to think that Sterling won't start. But, I don't understand why. It's not like he's moved here from another league and doesn't speak the language. Do you know what I mean? He knows every team that we play against, and as long as he's been in some training and he's fit, why can't he start?
I've got him starting.
We're thin on the ground, right? As it is, why can't he start?
Well,
he's coming from Manchester, not the moon.
Was he training with the main team, or was he?
He wasn't training with the main team.
Of course he is.
No, it wasn't. No, at Chelsea he wasn't.
No, Chelsea wasn't. No,
he's been training with us.
Were you talking about Chelsea, Tony?
He's had over 2 weeks to get acclimated to whatever we're doing.
Chelsea. Okay.
That's why
Chelsea,
I see how fit
he was not training. He was not training.
He was sidelined. He was taken away from the team.
They split up the team. They had like 20 players playing by themselves and another 20 with the coaches. So
such a crazy situation at Chelsea. That's mad. But I have to admire that manager who's come in with the new setup and stuck to his guns a little bit. He's stuck.
I don't think he had a choice. At some point you can only play. We can only sign and register 25 players. What's the use of having 36? 26. That's one player extra. Just don't even deal with it. Let somebody else handle it. Right.
Right.
So, I'm still really surprised they switched managers from the run they ended the season on.
Anyway,
they were in that 10th to 12th spot, and then just sure up to 6th. No time.
Brady said we should still have enough to get the job done on Sunday. Although draw will be a decent result, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't like that thinking.
I'm not going for draw.
We go in there to win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point?
of not going for a draw.
We don't
We
get
finished
draws
on a
anymore.
draw against Brighton. We can't afford to drop 4 points in 2 games. You have to keep pace with Man City.
We're not on draw watch anymore, right?
We're not on draw watch anymore.
We're not flirting with our record.
We're on W. We're win collecting. That's what we're doing. Gary Arteta
Whoa.
hasn't been able to make the left side work for over a year. I have no faith he can make what's left good enough to carry us through this self-inflicted nightmare. Listen, we just have to get through 3 or 4 weeks here. Maybe this week we just have to get through it because this is going to test our transfer policy over the summer. 3 away games coming up, 2 in the league and 1 in the Champions League. Now,
Stephen, what was wrong with the left side when Tassard was starting and he got 6 goals?
Right. That Champions League game's on a Thursday as well.
It is.
Which means we're going to have little rest time for the game next week, next Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to go.
So does he feel? So does he feel the weakened side against that Atalanta?
I think so.
Or does he go full strength?
No, I would definitely favor the 2 Premier League games and try to pick up 6 points. At Atlanta, whatever you get, if you can get a draw out there, that'd be a great result.
But if we don't get those 6 points, we'll then be 8 points behind Man City, right? And for me,
if we drops,
and possibly 8 points behind Liverpool. So
for me, this season would effectively be over at that point.
I don't believe we're over after 5 matches.
I cannot see a situation
8 points behind
after
City.
After 5 matches, it's over. We just
can't see a situation.
Yeah, but ordinarily no, but we're talking about City.
Yeah.
They're a different breed.
I mean, why are we playing? Why are we playing a Champions League game on a Thursday?
We didn't schedule it.
I thought Champions League games were only played on Tuesday and Wednesday.
We didn't schedule it. I mean,
football
guys beat us, right? They beat us. Why would they do that?
It's because they're 36 teams now instead of 32. So yeah.
No, but
it's an on 4. Lawrence, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday, it's still 3 games within the space of 7 or 8 days. It's a Sunday to Sunday. Whether it's a Wednesday or Thursday doesn't really make much difference. You know what I mean?
No,
there are 3 away games.
Doesn't
it?
Well,
come on, Ray. I was saying no more Thursday football. Now we're getting Thursday football in the Champions League. That's not right.
Same for everybody else.
Right, John said we ain't challenging for the title. Someone said that it's never happened where a team has improved for 5 seasons straight in the Premier League history. We've already improved 4 seasons. Yeah, listen, buckle in your buckle your seatbelts in for a roller coaster season if that happens, right? Right, Tony. Football comes in cycles, Lawrence. When your team's time is up for success, it'll happen, not before.
I'm not to buy a season pass to the closest amusement park.
The roller coaster ride.
Or I can just send you to Coney Island.
What City is doing is unrealistic because they broke the rules to get to the level they are now. Else you shouldn't have accumulated 150 charges to begin with. And I think news broke that, I think the court case is starting pretty soon as well. It's starting on Monday. There you go, Brownie. Odegaard could be back by November, well before Christmas. So it seems like it could be 3 months is what we're hearing, Luckily, he didn't break anything. Actually, probably...
You're actually better if you do break something.
I heard that today, Tony. It's actually better if you do break something. As
those high ankle sprains, they don't feel good, right?
Could be a different injury if it had been a break in somewhere. If Saka gets injured, Sterling can do a job. Sterling was the original Saka for England before Saka was him. And, in terms of getting a replacement or cover for Bukayo Saka, in the end, Raheem Sterling might be the best replacement that was available. So whilst we didn't do a great amount of business and we didn't get that striker, or forward that we wanted. We got a forward of some sort in terms
He
of
plays in a
cover.
variety of places as
Terrific.
well, doesn't he? He can play anywhere.
He can play across the line.
Yeah.
Sterling, what if he hits the ground running? What will you say then after what you just said? Yeah, listen, we all say a lot of things based on how we're feeling, and that's fine. We're going to see, like I said, we're going to see. It's going to be a real litmus test, acid test, the next 3 games.
I
Starting on
mean,
Sunday.
it wouldn't be very much fun if we all agreed. It's all just our opinion.
Exactly.
If we're wrong or right, it's
The voice
just
of
our
reason
opinion.
tonight, Tony.
That's
No,
that's not Tony. It's somebody else feeding him lines because
nothing's going to happen to
there's no
City
way-
mentioning that.
no
as
way
well.
sense is coming out of that mouth on a
Kamala
regular
Harris.
basis.
Look at that ear pierce. Yeah. Somebody's
This guy,
speaking into
somebody's
his ear.
talking to him. There's no way, Tony, say this. What does that mean? Just say it.
Tom is speaking into his ear, or Sam. Lawrence, you can't possibly blame Arteta for not expecting to lose.
We
3
couldn't
starters,
say what
3
Sam
games
would
in.
say
Rice,
into my
What do you
ear.
Odegaard.
mean?
If you're Tottenham, though,
He himself has said he himself has said he has a say on transfers.
Yeah.
So he is as much to blame as Edu is. I'm sorry if you don't agree with
Okay.
me, but he is as culpable as Edu.
This is the worst case scenario in terms of your midfield. Your starting midfield, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and Mikel Merino are possibly and probably our starting midfielders this season. 2 injuries and 1 suspension has caused us not to have our starting midfield on Sunday.
It's not very hard to know who does with signings because you have a dude getting all of the Brazilian and Portuguese players. You got Arteta going for his ex-Manchester City players when they're not in their prime anymore, trying to get them for leadership.
Yeah.
The
And
problem is as
probably
well,
like,
not only do we not have those players available, the players that are available are different kinds of players. Do you see what I mean? They're not replacements.
Nobody has
So
like at
yeah,
those
but
levels
Arteta
anyway.
will
So
ask him.
like KDB is out. They put Foden in. Foden is no KDB, so it's not like they did a like replacement
he's
there.
an attacking creative player.
Yeah, but they're not at
Do you know-
different
do you know what I'm
levels,
saying?
right? He's a
Which
lower level
Partey's
though,
not.
right?
Partey's not that. Declan
All
Rice
right,
is not
let's
that.
explore. So, Stan, you talking about...
Jorginho's not that.
Hold on, Tony.
It's about having different jobs, right? The reason that we have the 3 of them in midfield is because each one of the 3 are doing different things. You've got one sitting playing deep who's cutting out passing lines and helping out the defence. And then ideally, we've got Odegaard who's doing the creative stuff and leading the press, which leaves Mourinho, who hopefully is be a box-to-box player, like Xhaka was. He's going to come back and help Declan Rice and help out in defensive duties. And he's going to be able to get up into the box and create space and be an extra man and try and get on the end of opportunities to get the ball in the back of the net. And now that all of those are out, what have we got? We've got Jorginho and Partey. And we've got the new kid, Wanyari, who I've never seen before. I've never seen him play in the youth. But as we said, we don't really want to throw him in this match.
Yeah.
So we don't have the players that are out. We don't have the players to come in and can do anything near the jobs that we're supposed to do. So what's that going to be? A tactical change? To a double pivot? Like a lot of people keep putting up a double pivot of Jorginho and Partey.
No, that scares me.
And that scares me as well, exactly, because I'm not sure if both of them should be starting the game. We need one to be able to cover in case one breaks down, plays shit, or runs out of gas. Can't start them together because you start them together and that happens to one of them. Who's coming off the bench to slot in? There ain't no one. Won't be on any because he's gone. So,
I would personally play Zinchenko alongside Partey.
He's not allowed in the midfield. We know this. Mikel Arteta's not allowing him in there. It's off the table.
Stan, I'm stating my reputation. We're going to see this one time this season.
He's got a key. There's a door that says midfield, right? at London Colney, and you have to have one of those like key cards to get
Yeah,
in.
it's like a
having hotel.
corridor with doors. Yeah,
Everyone's got a
okay.
key card, but I'm guaranteeing you now, Zinchenko's card, every time he flashes it on the lock for the midfield door, it goes red. He can't get in, and the handle doesn't move. He's not allowed in. He doesn't have clearance.
We've already seen
He doesn't have that clearance for midfield.
Killing me,
because
Stan, killing me.
well, we go back to the game we got knocked out of the Champions League last year. Went with a back three. So who do we start as left back? Tamiyasu.
I
What
am
role does he
definitely.
play? He plays in the fucking midfield where Zinchenko should be.
I'm definitely starting a Thursday night forum bingo game where Tony will mention Bayern Munich and three at the back each and every time. You never fail. Red John said you take Rodri, Haaland, and Kevin De Bruyne out of City. They're not winning the title. And we have the similar situation with our midfield on Sunday.
But didn't all of those three players that John just mentioned,
Rodri, Haaland,
didn't they all have spells out last season?
Not all at the same time.
All of them had spells
Not
out.
at the same time.
Not at the same time. But yeah.
I think KDB and Haaland were out at the same time.
Kevin De Bruyne was out for 3 or 4 months. Second game of the season. That was bad luck for them.
No, Rodri is out early in the season. That's why, everybody said that's a good time. That's when they struggled early in the season. Rodri was out. I think he got a red card or something. Yeah. 3-game
suspension. We've only got the one. It was the yellow card for Declan Rice, which precipitated red. Brownie's on the same boat as me here. I've seen Zinchenko play in midfield a few times for Ukraine. He's creative enough for the lesser Premier League clubs, but not sure against better teams. So you're saying Tottenham's a lesser league club, a lesser Premier League club?
I don't know if he's saying that.
I'm for it. I'm all for it, but access has been denied.
Yeah.
Access has been denied.
Yeah.
I just saw Tony's T-shirt. Nice tribute to James Earl Jones. Rest in peace, Lord Vader. Yeah. Sadly, lost him. Hey, I've got one here as well. You've got a Stormtrooper. I got Darth Vader on my shirt. It's Tony, so a sad loss. Realize you're getting older when there's only 2 of the original Star Wars members left, Luke and Han. So
it's so weird. Like the last month between like the different entertainments, like wrestling, movies, music, and everything, there've been so many people that have died in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
If one area is fit and ready, I'm playing him in some capacity on Sunday. Give him 15, 20 minutes, of course. One area, Martinelli, Jesus off the bench. We're going to talk about midfield, and I think the easier part of midfield will be to talk about Odegaard and who can be Odegaard's replacement. So, Lawrence, who are you going for as Odegaard's replacement? What's in your team? We all have mentally picked a team, right? If we haven't, think about it now.
Lawrence, mine's quite wild. Mine's pretty wild.
What's pretty wild?
I don't know.
In my head, what I think we should be doing is pretty wild. It's never going to happen.
All right, we'll get. Yeah, it's like Zinchenko in midfield.
No, that's not allowed.
I've asked for it for a year and a half.
From what I've been seeing online, because I don't know who we put in there, but the consensus is that you play Partey with Jorginho. Okay, but this is my point. We've got no cover. We've got no cover for Odegaard, no cover for Saka.
Okay,
and now this is what happened.
What would you do for Odegaard position?
Well, the only cover we've got is Nwaneri, right? And he's not been tested yet.
He's not the only
17
player.
years old.
He's not the only player that can play in that position.
I don't know. I mean, who else is there? Zinchenko?
No, the Odegaard position. You're a creative attacking midfielder. Would you put Zinchenko in there?
I don't know. I honestly can't give you an answer because
I am never going to you again for predictions or any kind of.
well, you know me, Ray. When it comes to predictions
Yeah.
and seeing into the future, I'm the last person you should ask. I always sit on the fence.
Yeah, you always like tear down everyone
Get off
else's
the fence,
suggestions,
Lawrence.
right? Get
Well,
off
well,
Get off
that
we-
the
fence.
fence.
Can Arsenal recall Fabio Vieira? He hasn't played a single
He's injured.
game for. Yeah, he's injured.
Sambi Lakonga's injured as well.
It's the curse. It's
All
Good
of our
loan
midfielders,
it's
no matter
good
where
loan
they are
business if you
around the
can
world.
get it, man. You're getting free
With
medical and you're
injury.
getting paid.
General Hospital FC. With General
who the-
Hospital FC.
Who the hell's our head physio?
All right.
In the league.
We'll go to Gary, then Tony, then Stan. Gary, what are you doing in place of Martin Odegaard? You're a Mikel Arteta right now, Gary.
I've seen. I saw this on a show today, and I thought it's interesting. The midfield actually would be, I know we don't have an answer a true replacement for Odegaard right now. It should be in Wary, but he's not ready. But I mean, like I said, if you're gonna set your team up this way, he should be the one playing. But I understand the whole way. He's never played a minute as an Arsenal player in a real game a game that actually matters or in the crucial minutes. But I saw a midfield. It was a midfield of Partey sitting behind Timber and Saka. And sounds crazy enough, but guess what? At some point, you need to figure out get the best players in the best positions. I know Timber could play probably in the midfield, and Saka has played in the midfield. He did it even last year. I think they were a couple of years ago. He did that. He played in the midfield. So I think Saka can go anywhere, and you don't drop in form wherever you put him. Sounds crazy, but we don't really have good answers no matter what we do,
very
right?
crazy.
Yeah, but it could work because you put your best players on the
So
bench.
what's your three
We've
again, Gary?
I like that one. I think it's crazy.
Saka?
But I like that one. I think I would probably put Trossard in the midfield there with Partey, and then Timber is what I probably would do.
Okay.
So yeah.
Timber. Okay.
Yeah.
Timber, Partey.
Here's one reason why you would want to bring Saka back, because if you think the midfield is going to be weaker, you might as well put your best player on the ball in the midfield. Right now, that would be Saka, in my eyes. Like, think about it. If you weaken your midfield, your front three doesn't really matter, right? The ball will never get there. At least with Saka, you have some security on the ball, and he can make good decisions. He always makes good decisions with the ball.
Yeah.
We're going to need to be able to control the midfield, and he's probably the best footballer we've got. Maybe not the best midfielder, but the best footballer, and he can do a job. So, this is we've seen this last year, right? We saw Bernardo Silva go back and play and defend Saka for a half, stymied him, and then once the game got in control, they moved him back to midfield, and we lost. So, if Saka takes anything from Pep is that, guess what? Sometimes your best players might have to move around. We've seen it with multiple teams. The big teams will do it, right? So, Saka is our most versatile player and best player, can play pretty much anywhere. We say it all the time. Voila, here's an opportunity to get your best player in a position that hopefully will help the team out. So,
All right, so Gary's going for a Timber, Partey, Trossard midfield, right? Yeah. Hey, listen, it's going to be interesting what happens on Sunday.
Gary,
Tony,
can I just ask Gary, is that what you would do, or you think what Arteta would do? I don't know how he's supposed to answer this.
Right.
Well, what
Arteta's
going to do? If Arteta's going to do it, we assume Havertz is going to move back with Partey, and then I don't know who's going to be that creative player.
Yeah.
You don't really have one. You put Havertz in, and now you've got another player who's there maybe for his defense a little bit more. I don't know what Havertz would do in the midfield. I don't like him in the midfield at all. I feel like we weaken not only our center forward position and then our midfield with him. I'd rather secure the midfield with more defensive players than weaken our center forward for the few chances that we're going to get if we do this, right? So, if you think about it, if you don't, who are you going to have in the midfield? Are you going to play center forward? If Jesus is healthy, we know how that's going to go. So I really and truly don't want Havertz in the midfield more because, the chances that we're going to get, I'd rather them fall to Havertz than anybody else.
Bargo said, as far as the headline of the podcast goes, people been crying all summer squad was good enough. No reinforcements were required. Things hit the fan. Season's done. And I think that's a little bit of
I don't think anybody was happy with the window.
No. Look, I think
They only gave it a 6.
you have to, in your plans for a season, you have to factor suspensions and injuries into your plans and try to insulate your team and your squad against these occurrences. Jorginho referenced in that podcast the ability to remain calm, the ability to keep your emotions in check. And that's very important in terms of your discipline and staying on the field and not having suspensions. Whether you like it or not, Declan Rice did something that was against the letter of the law, and the referee was only too eager and happy to. And Rice said he did the wrong thing at the end after as well. So it's unfortunate. It's not going to happen to any other team this season. We know this, and we have to move on from it. Odegaard missing is going to help us figure out stuff. Rest that guy till completely healed. No overcompensation on the ankle. Yeah, look, this is a season where we raise the floor of the squad, and probably our most important player, other than Saliba or Saka, would be Odegaard, and we're going to be tested. Tony
or Gabriel.
Or Gabriel. He's our fourth most important player.
He's more important than Saliba. He's better.
Okay.
The captain.
Yes, the captain. What is your midfield, Tony? What are you going with?
I'm going just with 2 midfielders.
Hang on, Tony, is this what you want to do? Is this what you want to do, or you think
This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
I was only asking.
So I'll just start. We know who's going to be in as goalkeeper.
Oh, we don't need the whole team. Yeah.
I'm a left flank there. You're going to have Timber. Then you're going to have Gabriel.
Yep.
Then you're going to have
the best defender, Saliba.
And then you'd have Saliba. Then next to him as a center back as well, you'd have Ben White. Then you'd have Saka as your right wing back.
Here we go.
Then you have Jorginho and Partey. Then up front you have
you can't play 60 plus years of number 6s on our pitch. It's just not going to work. I just think that's
Saka
moving to an 8 is fine.
He's playing wing backs. This lad's playing wing backs. 3 at the back.
Yep.
I should have known. I should have known.
You should have all known.
Trossard.
Man's wedded to this.
You should be happy that I'm playing up front too, Stan.
What's your 3? Trossard?
Just 2 up front. That's 3-5-2, right?
3-5. I still think there was 3 players left, but there you go.
No.
Okay. Who were they? Who's your 2 up front?
It was Havertz and Trossard.
Havertz and
who? Havertz and who?
Havertz and Trossard. Yeah. I still think you picked 10 players.
Big kind of goalkeeper.
I said the goalkeeper.
You said the goalkeeper.
Central right.
Yeah, I still think he picked 10 players.
5-3, that's 10, and then the goalkeeper makes 11. Yeah.
Ray's not good at math.
No, I'm very good at getting hoodwinked by you. That's what I'm gonna.
It's Timber,
You never count the
Gabriel,
goalkeeper, do you?
Saliba,
In the
White,
formation. When you
Saka.
say 4-4-2, you don't count the goalkeeper, do you?
Gabriel White. You had the two holding midfielders and a wing back.
Two
That's
wing
8
backs.
players.
Timber and
That's 8 players, and you put 2 up top. That's 10.
plus the goalkeeper.
And the goalkeeper.
I
Ray
counted,
doesn't know his
counted the
math.
goalkeeper.
It's 11.
4-3-2.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What is this?
4.
Three.
Dan.
This is like Countdown when they're working out the sum.
Yeah. Karl Vorderman was always better as the
2
name.
from the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm not calling Ray as my lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
All right, Stan. You
Math
said you had.
question.
You want to hear my team then, or do you want to give me yours?
Well, I'd go for a different formation. I'd go for kind of like a 4-4-2 formation, which we do off the ball.
Okay.
But when we're kind of like on the ball and attacking, I'd have it like a 4-4-2, but a diamond in the middle. And they're not, and the 2 up top, they're not directly next to each other. You got one slightly deeper that can still come and help out in that top half of the midfield. But that's how I play FIFA. So of course I'm going to use that formation. But I mean, he would if you're going to go with the way that Mikel Arteta picks his team, I suppose it would. If I'm going to guess him, he'd probably going to go with Partey ahead of Jorginho in Rice's position.
Yep.
Now he's got 2 to fill, and 2 to fill. You know, I'd like to think that he'd think to himself, why am I going to move Havertz? He's the person that is actually getting some goals. Leave Havertz where he is, which means Trossard maybe as the left 8. That way he can play Trossard and Martinelli. Trossard doesn't get the ump because he's not off the bench, he's starting. And then next to him, that's the one, isn't it? There's another hole there. I'm not moving Saka. I'm not sure if Sterling can play in there. I've already said that I don't want to throw Inweri in there in the North London derby.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I'm saying it's got to be a formation change where you're playing sort of like 2 wingers. You've got 2 in the midfield then, and then you've got 2 up front. One of them can be a bit deeper, but then you're kind of like getting around the problem. But I just don't see him going all out and changing the formation. So there's a big hole. So with what we've got, you have to, I suppose, you have my biggest nightmare. You have to, in that formation, somehow you have to have Jorginho and Partey playing at the same time.
Yeah.
With one of them being more advanced. And I'm with Gary. That's just an accident waiting to happen.
Think about what you're asking, because think about what we just said. We have
You know
3
what I'm
games.
asking?
We have 3 games in 7 days.
Exactly.
One, our biggest rival. One away match that's not going to be easy, and then we have to play the best team in the world.
I
And then
agree.
you want to take our 2 6s and play them in the same game. They're not playing on Sunday. One of
I
them's
hope
not
not.
playing on Sunday.
I think, as I said earlier, and I repeat myself, right? One of them needs to start. One of them needs to be on the bench, and they share the minutes because, you know, you never know with these 2. They're very unpredictable. Right, Thomas Partey is very unpredictable at the moment in the way that he's playing for us.
And he went away, right? And he went away and played with Ghana. So
how was
he
he
going to come back?
Don't know how he played, but he survived both games.
Yeah, is he knackered now?
He might be a little bit knackered, yeah. Nick said, I just realized the UCL will be played 3 days a week. Yeah.
I can see it now. Thomas Partey, right? He's played 2 games. He's gone through 2 games with Ghana and got through them, but then he breaks down in the North London derby.
Yeah.
Please no.
That would be the Arsenal.
You know, Arteta's pushing him back on he's pushing him back on the pitch. You know that?
Gary, how dare you? 3 seasons on. Oh my God. 3 seasons on. That's horrible.
Now you say that. No way Partey makes it through that game.
No.
Right? He doesn't usually play in the big ones. And then guess what? His hamstrings or knees or whatever it is already scared as it is.
Our injury lull will be complete then. After that, Gary, our injury lull will be complete. Thomas Partey injured on the Sunday. Okay. I'm going to go with a traditional back 4, Tony. and a goalkeeper. And the players I name will come to 11 on the field. I
Can I
still
just ask a
think
quick question?
Yeah.
Does anyone think that Mikel Arteta will do something drastic? When I say drastic, I'm talking about one of two things. Either giving access to Zinchenko to the midfield, or doing something wild like putting Timber in the midfield.
I think
Did
that
you know what I mean?
that could happen. I think
When-
either one of those two things could happen.
When we
We're in
Calafiori.
the
go
area, right?
on the
I think
on the
we're in that
attack
area.
on the
Calafiori's
attack,
injured, right?
one of our fullbacks does move into midfield. Maybe he'll just stay there, right? So it can't happen.
Yeah.
It can't
Yeah.
happen.
TVOR can play in the midfield.
No, I think there's a big shout there, Stan. That's my hot take for this season. Zinchenko will play games in midfield. Will start games in midfield.
He will reach the promised land.
He will get access for 24 hours only through that door. Actually, don't mind the Champions Leagues are spread over 3 days, but it's going to put the UEFA Cup on the back burner even
The
more.
light turns green.
Next Thursday, we'll be talking about Atalanta.
Your key card will self-destroy in 3 weeks.
Brownie wants me to pronounce Atalanta correctly. Tony trying to keep Alonso away from his back. Alonso, where is that slag? Alonso, he's probably watching a NASCAR race or at work. All right, so here's my team. I'm going to go with David Raya in goal. Obviously, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, White. I will go with
Zinchenko.
Partey at the base of midfield. I will put Havertz. I will bring Havertz back into midfield alongside Partey.
Why would you do that for?
Let him
Let
finish. Let him finish,
Let
dude.
him talk, man.
I can explain myself then. Trossard will take the Odegaard role. I would play Trossard in that central attacking midfield. And then I would play Sterling through the middle, Martinelli on the left, and Saka on the right.
Is this your
There you go.
picks or what Arteta would pick, right?
I mean, it's
That
my
sounds
picks. It's my picks.
That sounds like what
There's
Arteta
no
would
predicting, and maybe this is a tactical advantage we have over Tottenham. They don't know what we're going to do.
pick.
We don't know what we're going to do. You know?
Ray, I like how you talked about Zinchenko for like 35 minutes, then he doesn't make your team.
He just didn't make the cut.
Ray building him up and
He
then
didn't.
cutting him down.
Okay. So yeah, I'm bringing Havertz back in the midfield, but I think we're in a desperate situation. He did it last season. He played Havertz in midfield. We're losing an edge up front, but I think Raheem Sterling has played through the center before, centrally. Actually, a few years ago against Man City, we tried Willian in that false nine position. We have actually Raheem Sterling now who can do it against City next week as well.
How did that work for us, Chris?
What?
How did that outcome work for us?
Why? That's not going to happen. When the Rice comes back, that means Havertz moves back up top. So that's not going to happen.
What did Tony say?
Still got 2 holes.
Nonsense.
That's not what I said.
Oh, sorry.
Trossard could definitely play number 10. He's got that Odegaard. There you go, Red John. He said that way back. And I just said he's got that Odegaard technical gene inside of him.
Both Havertz and Trossard are supposed to be able to play 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Even Sterling could do that. Play in that position, I believe. You know? We're not – listen.
Yeah, are they going to be able – are they going to lead the press like Odegaard does?
No.
Is Trossard going to lead the press like Odegaard
Trossard,
does?
yeah.
I'm not so sure. I think Havertz might be able to.
Yeah.
I don't
Havertz
think we
with
need
his
to.
long legs looks quite athletic, but I don't see Trossard leading the press. I can see him
We're-
coming in
we're-
maybe in the
We're not
second
going to
or
have
third
two
right.
players. We're not going to have two players in Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard who lead the press. Declan Rice and Odegaard are very good at it. Jesus, to his credit, is pretty good at it as well. Sterling.
See, I just get worried that if we have a midfield of, say, Partey at the base, and then ahead of them he's got Havertz and Trossard, someone needs to come back and help at times. Someone's going to have to come back and help Thomas. And maybe there'll be miscommunication about who it is who's supposed to be doing it now and whatever. Do you know what I mean?
That's why
wild
Timber makes more
formation.
sense. That's why Timber makes
Timber-
more sense in the
It does,
midfield.
doesn't it?
Timber
Because
at right.
you're not, you can't have Partey there
Defensive.
with two more offensive-minded players. It's just not going to work.
Now,
Like
They'll go
Rice
through
can
us up
play.
front.
Rice is more defensive than offensive, and we'd like that. So Timber being there, I don't, it might affect us offensively, but at least we'll be solid in the midfield.
is
nobody's going
Calafiori
to-
injured? As well?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
He's-
Will be a test. Most likely will be, right? Zinchenko, Jesus, and Martinelli off the bench is decent. I think Jesus will be on the bench. Martinelli's marginal, depending on what we do with Jorginho. If Jorginho plays, I don't think Martinelli makes it into the team.
I actually
Also
think the
depends
more I
where-
even think about it, I think there's even a shout that you could put Zinchenko into. I mean, he does it at international level. Why is he not allowed to play in that for Arsenal in the midfield? I mean, it's like a needs-must situation.
If ever there's a situation where Zinchenko will be brought into midfield, it will be this game.
And also, as well,
This
just being
group of
given the
games.
opportunity, I could see Zinchenko leading the press like a mad demon because he probably wants to be able to show, I'm playing in midfield now. I'm playing as a
That's
as a 10. I want to show everyone what I can do. Maybe this is the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're just not
he
seeing
was
it.
he was
He goes
a
away,
10
he goes away on
playing
international duty.
left back.
Goes away on international duty. He plays in the midfield. He's not going there to play as a left back. He plays all season as a left back, but his country still picks him to play in the midfield.
Brownie, this is a bit of a stretch here. You're saying Declan Rice is one moment of madness, let's say, is going to cost Arsenal the league. I know the margins
So
are fine.
one game is going to cost us the
Yeah.
trophy.
One game is going to cost us a trophy, Brownie.
Brownie,
So-
your math doesn't make any sense.
Could you
One
put
game cost us last season, really. People will pick
No, but
different
like
games.
Rice is
You pick different
missing
games,
the
yeah.
North London Derby isn't the reason why we will lose the season. You'll lose a trophy in the Premier League.
could we put Tierney on the left and Timber on the right?
Is Tierney even practicing?
Tierney, come on.
Where's he playing now?
Here's BX Gunners put his team in.
Plays for us. He's on the Champions League
David Raya,
squad,
Timber,
so he can play in the Champions League.
No,
if
but I
he's
thought we were
healthy.
talking about positioning players. I thought, well, you slotting him in there.
Saliba, White. So BX has gone with Partey and Jorginho together. Havertz there, Sterling, Trossard, and Saka. It's not a bad midfield. You're bringing Havertz back into midfield. Stan's going all Mike Bassett. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mike Bassett has made it into the Thursday night forum for 2 weeks running now. Just hope he plays Benson and Hedges alongside Gary Wackett.
Notwithstanding.
Aren't Arteta and Edu midfielders during their playing days? They might have to kit up to deal with this midfield shortage. Declan Rice will be back next Thursday. Declan Rice will play in Italy. And
Before I
he'll be ready.
forget, I'd like to mention something because I will forget it. Did anybody hear Robert Perez talking about Saka?
Yeah. Doku is better than him.
So basically,
no.
this is basically right. Robert Perez, he claimed that Saka lacks consistency. That's what he said about analysis on Saka.
And you know what?
then
And every
in the same breath, he said
Crazy.
that Jeremy Doku is better, and is
No
maybe
way.
you know what I mean. He's better
Did
than Saka.
his lifetime
Two sides of the
membership?
pitch podcast. Welcome.
Did
That's
his
crazy
lifetime
take. That's a
membership?
crazy take. I thought
Doku's
Robert
one that's
Perez
inconsistent, right?
was a former Arsenal player. Robert Perez.
But it happens. I've read some
And
of Paul Merson's takes, and they're absolutely nuts. Some of his
No
takes
way.
are nuts, man.
do
I used to
you
love
want to know
Merson.
why he said that, Ray?
Some of Tony Adams' takes are nuts as well, to be fair. Some of his suits are nuts. That green corduroy one that he wears into like every time he's a pundit, it was that green corduroy suit. What's going on now?
Right, his lifetime gym
video.
membership at the Emirates
got revoked.
Yeah. And now he has to go.
But now he's going to go to
gym.
Man City. Why have we just snuck Rice in there and hope the ref doesn't notice he's on
I've not
red?
seen Doku change games. I've not seen him score the first game to get the team on. I've not seen him score winning goals. Yeah, he's fast and he's pacey with the ball, but so was Javinho.
I never really
so was
rated him.
Javinho.
People were big enough.
Sometimes players who can run fast and move the ball can be deceiving to the eye. But it's about the finished product. It's about, are they able to slip someone in? Are they able to pull the cut back? Are they able to curl it in? And Saka does all of those things. He does all of those things.
Yep. Reg, I mean, I didn't really rate Doku when people were raving
it's not even
about
close.
him last week.
It's not even close.
He didn't even get 10 goals. He got a decent amount of assists, a few goals. He didn't score enough in that Man City team for me. I know it was his first season, and generally in the top 4, when you come to a new team, it'll take you a season to get acclimatized to the league.
I'm not saying that Doku can't become something, but at the moment, it's not even close. If someone says to me, which one do you want? I know who I'm taking, and that's not being biased.
That's a quote to get people talking about you, Robert Perez. Kind of thought he was better than that. Red John, I think we could experiment something crazy like Ben White as number 10. Play Timber White's position since he can do both left back and right back.
Where's Lawrence headed?
Play Kivior in Timber's position.
I'm trying to figure out where Lawrence is headed to.
Move location. Stefan, I hope you're all well, my friend. Yeah, Brownie talks a lot of sense, says Stefan. We should listen to Brownie. One game across Arsenal, the league.
Well, Brownie,
when you lose by 2 points, Brownie, generally one game will cost you.
Here's the thing, actually, where is Brownie? Because I've had 2 reports. The one report I've had that is down under in Australia, but the other report that I've had is that he's actually working as a redcoat at Butlins in Cardiff. So I don't know which one it is.
I thought it was down under. My suggestion also leaves us with Trossard on the bench, which still leaves us.
I could see him calling the bingo that on a Thursday night.
In Butlins.
2 fat ladies.
B25.
It's meant for him. Exactly.
42.
Exactly. Spurs will be
Maggie's 10, number 10.
Yeah. From 2 Sides of the Pitch podcast, Spurs will probably be without Basuma, definitely without Betancourt. Listen, I'm not too far. I'm just confident in what we can do. I'm not really interested in the team that they're going to put out. I'm just confident in what we can do on Sunday. And listen, it will be a midfield battle because we are severely depleted. It's going to be a full midfield of second choice players in our midfield. I think Doku is a better dribbler and more rapid attacker, says BX Gunner. I think it's just a patriotic thing since Doku is a French-speaking Belgian. Yeah, but, Trossard's a Belgian too, but he scores more goals.
Saka is some people's eyes the best player for Arsenal. So to say he's like Doku's anywhere competing with him at any level is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I mean, yes, he might be able. Think about it. He might be able to attack a back line similar to a Martinelli, but I'd rather have his consistency of like what he's in the last 3 seasons. He's got over 60 goals, 60 goal contributions. All right, I'm taking that. Right, I'm taking that.
The one word he should not have used was consistency. Talking about Saka, I mean that's just like what? He's inconsistent.
I think a lot of people say he's consistent in what he does, but nobody's able to stop it. At the end of the day, you look at this. At the end of the season, you look at his numbers and you go, "Voila, there you go."
You only have to look at the betting odds that he gets for games online for betting agencies to see that he's not consistent. You don't get big odds with Saka. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's generally one of the first players that's gonna, the favorite to score the first goal, the favorite to score any goal.
Ahead of a striker, ahead of he's more favourite to score ahead of the person that plays for the middle for Arsenal. That's where we are.
Yeah,
with Saka.
Yeah. Tony, isn't Doku the name of a Sith Lord played by Christopher Lee?
Count Dooku.
It's international Star Wars.
Dooku.
Dooku.
I like it.
I was mentioning that last season. I was mentioning Count Doku last season. Tony will attest to that. Well, there you go. Can the world cope with 2 Adam Brownies? I don't know about that.
I cannot attest to that, Ray, because I was spending time on the wrestling thing and missing your Count Doku.
Thank you, Tony. Just cut me loose there. What a friend you are. Gary, this is how he does. Right? This is how he does, Gary. This is how he does.
You can barely pay attention when we're on the show. Now he's like, I'm multitasking. All right, got it.
Gary, the last weekend we saw Tottenham at Newcastle.
Yep.
It didn't look
Newcastle
pretty.
Scored all the goals, right?
Yeah, Newcastle scored all the goals. Was it an OG as well, right?
Yep.
For them. Okay. Tottenham looked bad up there in Newcastle, but a lot of teams look bad up in Newcastle. We can do something similar to them on Sunday, right? Transition on them quickly. They play a high line. How are we going to beat them, Gary?
We're going to have to
leave more goals.
One
more goals.
That's why I asked Gary first.
So, Tony, you done? You're done? You answered the question?
Maybe.
If we have more crayons on our box, Tony.
I know, yeah.
He's intent on taking your airtime, Gary.
Did
It's
going to be timely striking for once, but also...
Did you see Lawrence perk up when you said crayons?
You're not even talking about this.
Tony, my hand is over the mute button for you.
I answered your question.
All right, let Gary take the
people have mentioned a few times in the chat about Rabiot, Adrian Rabiot, because he's available in free.
Can I answer my question first before we move on to
another? No, but I don't think Arteta rolls that way. He won't just take him because he's there. It's all about personality and how it's going to go in the dressing room. And I've got a feeling that, we all know Rabiot has a bit of a history. He would rather forsake that than bring him in as a body. So I think that would be off the table. Unless he knows something I don't about Rabiot and is a really nice bloke.
I don't think it's his
Gary.
problem. It's always been his mom's, Stan. His mom's the issue. I don't think it's Rabiot. You don't have your mother as your agent.
Gary, we're going to come back to you. Don't worry, Gary. I will say we swerved Ivan Toney because of the conversation we had with Ivan Toney. There was something we didn't like about it. We swerved Osimhen, and that was a little bit fishy. We ended up in Turkey now. So the one that I would have wanted us to take a punt on was Gyökeres. There's a player who continues to score goals. Listen, Tony, please stay quiet now. We're going to ask Gary how Arsenal would beat Tottenham. So hold on a second, Tony. Gary, go ahead.
Well, here we go. Let's try this again. I think, we're going to have to lean on our defense. Our defense is still one of the best in the league. So far, so good. Knocking on wood. Everybody will start. If that's Timber, if that's Calafiori, I think we'll be good either way, depending on where we go with that one. So that's the only question mark as to who plays in that left that left fullback role. So we got to lean on them. They might even score for us, right? Set pieces will do us good.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, last season, our back line looked like they could score. We might need them to do that this time defensively. But timely. We have to make these, like you said, these timely counterattacks on when we get an opportunity. I think Arteta has to tell these guys, look, if they give you something, you need to take it. None of this going back and setting up the offense. We're not going to be able to do that. Not with whatever midfield we put together will be makeshift and it won't be ready to go. That's why I believe in rotation. And when you don't rotate, all of a sudden now you're playing somebody out of position for the first time. They've never done it, right? And I think that's the problem there. Yeah. So what? Yeah,
The dog.
whatever. Yeah. And like I said, I think we've got answers. Whether Arteta
Yeah.
would go with it, we'll see. If Zinchenko is as good as everybody says he is in midfield, then Arteta should play him there. This is the game for that, right?
Yeah.
Something different for sure. Havertz and Saka, Martinelli, or whoever plays on that left wing. What kind of pizza is that? The Domino's?
Cheese.
What is that?
It's
Papa
plain.
John's.
Cheese and tomato.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no,
That's not local.
Iceland.
they're going to give us chances. We need to take them. So that's
Yeah.
going to happen, right? So we possibly will give them chances as well, but this is the game where we need to be pretty much near perfect on defense.
Yeah.
Do you know how
Gary's
many
right.
stoppage
Go ahead,
goals we had
Tony,
last season? Do you know how many stoppage goals we had last season?
What's that, Tony?
Do you know how many stoppage goals we had?
Stoppage goals.
Yeah, from corners, penalties.
Being set pieces.
Set peaches.
Set peaches.
Penalties are not a set piece. 38.
Don't take the bait, Stan. Don't take the bait.
I'm not.
38.
No fear.
38 stoppage goals.
Also, you have to think as well, right? If you're the Tottenham players, you know this is a big game coming up, and you hear the news, right? There's no Declan Rice and there's no Odegaard. That's going to give you a lift. And also, as well, we have to remember that this is an away fixture, so they're going to have the crowd on their side as well. So it's going to be a dangerous environment, man. It always is with these fixtures. And as Gary said, we're going in there with makeshift. We have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, we could look at the match lineup hour before the game, and we could see a Zinchenko in there or a Timber in there. Things that we've not seen before, right? Do you know what I mean? That as Arsenal supporters, you've not seen anything like that happen before. So, is it going to be a change of formation? It's a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Because it's not beyond Mikel Arteta to come up with something completely different that we've not. That's not. He's done it before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe he's listening to this podcast and he's thinking, that Tony Turner guy, and he turns up with like 3 in the middle and wing backs. We just
like
don't
10.
know. Do you know what I mean? And he puts back 10 players.
I'm convinced he named 10 players.
Just puts back 10 players. Rush goalkeeper.
6,
So it's going to be interesting because I really have no idea. Really have no idea.
Yeah. Tony named a goalkeeper, a left back, 2 central defenders, a right back, and a wing back. That's 6. He played 2 holding midfielders. That's 8. And he played 2 up top. That's 10. I'm convinced about it.
You're stubborn. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, Ray.
Yeah, it was a 5-3-2, right?
It's a Tony Easter egg. He leaves us Easter eggs every podcast.
5-3-2, right?
5-3-2. You didn't name a third midfielder. You named 2 midfielders. But there you go. I'll let it go. It's not bothering me at all.
Yeah, you're letting it go, all right? You brought it up like 30 minutes after the
You're not going to be
fact.
able to get to sleep tonight. You'll be like that. Definitely 10.
It's going to be like screaming at his wife.
He
Yeah,
named
only
10
2.
players.
Ray's going to be replaying the clip for like
Tony's
5
midfield.
minutes.
He named 10 players.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
like the Bruder film, up and to the left, up and to the
Um,
left.
as Stephen and Gary alluded to,
I'm worried, man.
Tottenham defending from corners, 18 against corners last season. We need to take advantage of that. So we saw this in the spring when we went to White Hart Lane and won the game. I know Havertz scored and Bukayo Saka scored on a transition breakaway counterattacking. Again, I think Havertz played a deep role in that game. I don't remember who scored the first goal. Was it a deflection from a shot from Declan Rice? But then obviously we gave away 2 goals near the end. So it's going to be a close game at the end of the day. We're not as efficient as we were last season yet. We haven't reached the heights. And Declan Rice was recently interviewed saying he's using these games as his preseason, the Premier League games as his preseason, which we pretty much anticipated coming back from the European Championships, right? Yeah. So Rice and Saka have been a little bit behind everybody else. But you would think now,
Yeah, right.
as Saka,
Saka's been struggling, right? He's leading the team in GA. Struggling, man.
is Saka played international games in this
Yeah, he
Injurylull?
played both of them. He came out
Okay.
early in the
Yeah.
third, the second one.
Okay. All right. So, Arsenal, I feel Arsenal will go to White Hart Lane and get the 3 points. Then we can't follow this draw against Brighton with another negative result.
I'm shitting myself because, as I mentioned earlier, if we get to that Man City game and we've gone on a bad run of games, that could be the end of the league. I just think that, traditionally, being 8 points behind the team, there is opportunities to catch up because invariably the team that's leading may drop points along the way. But this is City.
Yeah.
City could.
Yeah, but you're
City,
saying 8 points.
I'm worried. I'm just really worried at
you,
the moment.
okay, so you think if we lose against Tottenham, we'll lose against Man City and be potentially 8 points behind. But I think we have enough quality in our team without the midfield players notwithstanding to get 3 points up there.
I'm not sure that there'd be enough
Yeah,
space
but
to
Ray,
pull that back.
But Ray,
Injuries.
Yeah,
Ray,
Lawrence.
we're going to have to catch up. The worst case scenario is if we lose on Sunday and lose next week, we're going to be 8 points behind. That means we've got to catch up on 3 games in order to catch up on City.
Yeah.
I mean, can you honestly see that happening? You see City dropping 8 points.
They drop 8 points every season.
Yeah, but that means that we've got to continue as well to be perfect.
Yeah.
Not have any injuries, have people. See, I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That's considering that everything is all square and equal, but it's not. Marino's not going to be back for ages.
Yeah.
So
Odegaard could be out for 3 months.
if that happens, then
An injury ravaged season. Is that what we're talking about? Maybe
Jesus, what's the news there? Do you know what I mean? People like Tommy Asu who always get muscle injuries. It's shaky, man. Very shaky.
We have talked about
claw back 8 points and keep everything good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're in that realm yet.
But we talked about this.
And if you're not putting the pressure on, it's easier for that team then, isn't it? That's ahead of you.
Yeah.
If you're not able to put that pressure on, then I don't know.
Stefan said 8 points behind City would be curtains. You got to count on City losing 3 games not happening. They don't have to lose 3 games. They can draw a number of games as well. To get that 8 points back would be 4 draws, over the course of, and it wouldn't be. We wouldn't catch them in 4 games.
Do you think at the beginning of the season, right? Do you
games,
think at the beginning of the season when Man City, people like Pep and his coaches are sitting there and they're planning out the season, do you think they have conversations like, well, if Arsenal drop points here and if Arsenal get an injury or if Arsenal get they don't look at the misfortune of other teams. They just go out and do what they've got to do. Do you know what I mean? And what we're doing, we're still in that area where in order for us to get where we want to be, the stars have to align. This player has to get a broken leg. Do you know what I mean? None of our players can get injured anymore. City's got to go down the toilet with their 115. There's all of these. We've got all of these variables.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't believe that when City plan their season, they don't talk about any of that shit. They just talk about what they've got to do. And we're not there yet. We're not quite in that area yet. We still have to count on good lady luck. It's like buying a lottery ticket.
We're in this.
what team doesn't? We're not the only team that's in that boat. I mean, everybody.
The team that we've got to beat is the team that's not doing it.
All 19 teams are doing the same thing because not one of them is in a position to do what you're saying. So I think it's not like we're alone in this thing. There's 19 other teams that are also in the same boat,
except for one.
And yeah.
That one team.
So the trick is that all 19 teams need to play.
We'll never be champions.
Now think about it. All 19 teams need to play City like they would play anybody else. They don't do that. We know this. We've seen it so many times. They roll over in a fetal position when they play City, and guess what? City gets what they want. They play Arsenal. They play up for it, right? Play Liverpool. They play up for it, right?
Yeah, you're right, Gary. There's a handful of teams. Manchester United have the tools to take points off City. Believe it or not, Liverpool do. We do, and Aston Villa do. Maybe Newcastle on a good day, but that's four or five teams that can take points away from City. But look, last season they were really poor against.
We're doing it again. Exactly as that mean. We're looking at teams that can take points away from City in order for us to get where we want to be. City don't look there. I guarantee you, they don't calculate the teams that can take points of Arsenal. They don't bother themselves with that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. They don't. They're not in.
Arsenal has.
That's not their mentality.
I don't think Arsenal does that either.
Arsenal thinks that they can't.
I don't think
that
that's
one
that
game
conversation.
It's one game at a time. If Arteta doesn't play to win every game, guess what? It looks the way it's
City don't go well. If Liverpool can do this to Arsenal and they lose their butt, then we will win the league. They believe they're winning the league.
Doing that?
We don't do that either.
You said we're doing that.
You literally just did it. You said, "Well, if this team."
No, you brought up a scenario and I combated it. I don't. We win one game at a time. I don't care.
Right.
If we look ahead, yes, we're going to struggle. We don't have to win the City match tomorrow on Sunday. We had to win London Derby on Sunday.
That was Ray saying City can get draws at these places or lots.
The point that I'm trying to make is that in order for us to win the league, we're having to look at all of these different kinds of variables.
As Arsenal fans, we're doing that, Stan. Yes,
but I don't believe
that. There are Man City fans who are going to do the same thing.
What I'm saying is that over at Man City, over in their world, when they're looking and planning their seasons ahead, they don't talk about variables.
You talk about two different things.
I've never brought up other teams have to lose for us to win. You're talking
about Man City as a club. Hold on a second. You're talking about Man City as a club. They don't worry about anything else. I believe Arsenal and Mikel Arteta don't worry about other teams as well. You can only control what you're doing. Us as fans on a podcast, Arsenal fans on podcasts, we're looking at places where City can drop points. I think Man City podcasters are talking about where Arsenal could potentially lose points. And you better believe it. They're talking about this weekend and next weekend. Man City podcasters are probably saying, well, if Arsenal draw at Tottenham and we beat them, then they're calculating the points. You know what I mean?
I think they have that mindset, right?
And Brownie has said, this is basically what I said earlier on.
I don't think
Rice may have cost Arsenal the title.
We haven't even lost the game yet. Everybody's like, they could see into the future already.
Let's play the games. And look, we are in this place right now where we've come. Hold on a sec, Tony. We're in this place now where we've come out of a bad transfer window. Most Arsenal fans believe we've come out of a bad transfer window. And we're heading into 3 very difficult away games on the back of a draw. That we got a point against Brighton, and it's not rosy going into those 3 games. So we're going to feel some kind of way about this right now in our season with injuries on top of this as well, Stan. You know what I mean? It's not looking good. It's
you just
bleak.
said that most Arsenal fans felt that we came out of this with a bad transfer window.
Yep.
So for me, looking at the fine margins that they are and how close we got to Man City, in order for us to take that next step and beat them, we needed to have, at the very least, a good transfer window, if not an exceptional one.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that.
No,
And I honestly think, as much as I enjoyed last season and the season before that as well, the season before that, I thought to myself, how can we get better than this? And we did. I don't feel this way about it this season because I don't think that we've done quite enough to bridge that gap. And I would go as far as to say that I'm worried that we may not even finish second this season and finish third instead.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, and you guys know me on this podcast, I'm behind Mikel Arteta. I'm not a dead downer, but the way that I feel at the moment, it's just my opinion at the moment, and hopefully that may change. But I'm a little bit, I'm not feeling it as much as I should do that we're going to win the league. And as I say, if we get to that stage where we're 8 points after the City game, well, okay.
So Stan,
I don't see how we make up the
You're doing the hypothetical there.
You just told us not to do it, but you're doing it already. You already have us 8 points down.
This is my opinion.
The Leicester match.
I said if we get to that point, I'm saying if we get to that point, then in my opinion, if we get to this stage at that point with we're 8 points behind, in my opinion, it's going to be hard to claw back that deficit. That's just
not impossible. Not impossible, but hard.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
But Stan,
nothing's impossible.
How bad is extending Arteta's contract though? Look, if we're back 8 points behind.
He can get fired at any time. Everybody makes it sound like we signed him, so he's stuck with us. He's not. The one thing you can't do is show that you're a disjointed club, right? So for me, it's not that they would go. They're not doing it only just because. Guess what? Maybe, but to keep the continuity that you got to make it seem like you're going to do that. If he goes out and just the team plays terribly, we finish outside the top 5 or something like that. Should he keep his job? I don't think anybody would say yes, right?
No.
Regardless of injuries or whatnot, we have they put in a decent enough squad that we should be able to finish top 5, right?
Yeah. Top 4.
So
Lawrence.
So how long do we stay with this process before everyone realizes that it's not working? Okay. 1 trophy in 5 years, and supposedly the worst manager in the Premier League has won 2 trophies in 2 years at Old Trafford. Okay. How long do we persist with Mikel Arteta as being manager of our club when he keeps failing at the final hurdle before everyone realizes we've got to bring someone else in because this is not working out?
Okay. Let me ask you.
I'm going to say something quickly as well. Right? Tiger keeps saying that I'm negative. When was the last time I was negative about Arsenal and Mikel Arteta on this podcast? Come on, be honest. I've been behind this manager and this club for ages. But today, I'm not happy looking at where we are and what I think that's happened in the transfer window. And so I'm one of these people that, if I see a problem, in my opinion, I'm going to say, well, I'm not happy about that. As much as I like Mikel Arteta, and as much as I'm glad that he's had his contract extended, by the way, I think he's the right man for the job. But in the areas that I've pointed out on this particular podcast about that the numbers don't add up, about not replacing players, I'm disappointed in him for doing that. So I think it's left us short.
Yeah.
And it was fine margins last season, and I don't think that we've covered enough ground to get over the line of our City. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I've outlined, Stan, we're coming into the most difficult week of our season. We got 3 games coming up that's going to be season defining, probably, in terms of the 2 Premier League games. Could be potentially season defining, right? And on the back of not the best transfer window that we hoped for. decent but not great, and injuries coming up. And I think we'd feel a little bit better with Declan if Declan Rice was available as well. We probably
And
wouldn't
also,
feel
what
as
Misfit
bad
says
about
here,
this.
and that's exactly what I'm saying. What Misfit says here.
Step on a butterfly,
He says,
civilization like that.
and if Odegaard is out for more than a month and we take on any more injuries, I'm worried we don't make top 4. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
definitely. Yeah, as Steven said, Stan, if Odegaard's out for more than a month, we take on any more injuries.
saying.
I'm worried we won't make top 4. And top 4 would be the minimum for this season. And we want more than just the minimum.
Well, in reality,
as-
top 4 isn't the minimum because I
But
mean,
I
Lawrence
have to,
it's
but
better
I
than
have to
that.
defend myself. When was the last time I was negative?
No, you haven't been.
It's
I love
been at
last
least
season.
a year and a half.
I love
Yeah.
the
At
season
least
before
a
that.
year and a half.
Do you remember when I
Yeah.
used to use my scale? I got to a stage. I got to a
90.
stage. I was like 80%, 90% that I was
90.
like against Arteta. I said I was
Yeah.
10% in favour, and now the scales come all the way back. I don't come on here every week saying get Edu out, get Arteta out. I'm not even saying that tonight.
No.
I'm just saying that the cover, the numbers that have gone out, 3 midfielders left, only 1 came in. All right, that doesn't add up. We let a striker go.
But one area came in.
The striker went.
Heath,
Okay, a young
area
kid.
came in.
Okay, all right. It still doesn't add up. 3 strikers,
3 to 2.
3 mid. Okay, 2 came in, but there's still 1 missing. That leaves us short than what we had.
Yeah.
The
But you're
striker went out.
counting-
Hold on, the striker went out. And Eddie, we didn't replace him. And Sterling coming in is the cover that we've all been wanting anyway because we were short in that area regarding Saka, even though Sterling can play across all those 3 positions. So that's good. But we're short. And unfortunately, that one midfielder that did come in, who's a senior player, unfortunately got injured. That's nobody's fault. It happens. But we haven't got a backup. We haven't got a backup for that guy now. And now the captain's out. I just think that we could have been a little bit more prudent, maybe thought a little bit more about what do we do. If I'm thinking, what do we do if Odegaard gets injured? Surely someone on the Arsenal coaching team is thinking that. It gets paid to think about that. I'm just on a podcast. I don't know nothing. Do you know what I mean? So why aren't they thinking? I just find that like a real bad move.
As BX said,
and we send players away on loan. We send players away on loan that could now be having an opportunity out of circumstance and fortune. And we'll find out whether Teabag's worth 35 million because he'll have to start playing if he was here, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have that option. We don't have that option. That's the thing. The option is not even. It's not even possible now.
Teabag would have been Odegaard's replacement last season.
We would be screaming at him because he's now. We know what he is. I don't think no matter if he's healthy or not, we know what he is. He's not going to be an answer.
It's the chance we take.
It's not even that. It's not even that we let him go. As you said, the only problem we've had, and this has been a constant problem, is we let players go and we never bring in the right numbers back, right? Even if we know that there are players out there we could have brought in for loan, right? Chiesa was out there. We've seen all these players go out there, loan options all over the place. Never took it, even I don't even think the team probably even thought that was an option. Look, we can probably get a player in here on a loan. We'll figure it out later on if we want to keep them or not, right? A lot of players are out there. We didn't go for that. The team, they looked into Sterling, right? That was not planned. That was almost like a Trossard thing. You try all these other avenues. They didn't work out. Boom. Sterling's there. Why not do it? Eddie can get sold. All right. We'll do a switch there, even though it's not a straight a player for player switch, but we did it anyways. But they planned this out. Remember, they've been planning this out 3 or 4 months. What did somebody say? 180 pages of paperwork they've got on their windows. Didn't look like it. Once Sesko blew up in their face, they had no answers after that, right?
Yeah. They didn't say the typeface was in 96.
At the end of the day, right, the problem this fan base has is they forget it's Arsenal FC. They seem to think it's Arteta FC and Edu FC. Just when Arsene Wenger was in charge, they thought we're Arsenal FC. just when they thought we were Ozil FC, just when they thought we were Shaka FC. No one is bigger than this
I
football
think,
club
but
itself.
Lawrence, you're
Not
misrepresenting.
not
You're
No,
not
Lawrence,
talking
you're
to those people,
misrepresenting
though.
other
Why are you
parts of the
talking?
fan
What,
base.
talk to us because we're not. I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't think any of us are those type of
I'm
people.
not saying everyone. I'm just saying there's a majority of fans in this fan base who
But
seem to
you're
think that
screaming at
this
us, though, dude.
manager. I'm just trying to state a point because people keep talking over me and not giving me an opportunity to speak. I'm saying that there's fans, not every fan, there's a fair majority of fans in this fan base that seem to think that this manager and this sporting director are bigger than the club itself. And as I keep saying, no one is bigger than Arsenal Football Club itself. Not any of us, not Edu, and not Arteta. And I wish people would get their heads around that because I'm sick
Yeah,
and
but-
tired of hearing the same thing.
Do you know what
Every
I
time.
think? Right, Lawrence, do you know what I think people should get their heads around as well? The club is not going to fire a manager because some of the fans want the manager out. There's got to
Well,
be
we
a
did-
majority.
We
There's got to be a
did that,
majority.
right? We did that with Emery, right?
We did that with Emery, but because his position became untenable, and the majority of the fans, if you don't
Yeah.
have Lawrence, if you don't have
He was
support,
sitting at third place, right? Third place going into the October international break.
if you don't
and-
have if you have less than 50% of the fans that want Arteta out or any other manager out, the club they're not going to get rid of Arteta just because 10% of the fan base want it to happen. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know why you waste your energy calling for Arteta to get fired. I'm not saying you're doing that, Lawrence, but a certain
Are you?
percentage of the
Are
fan
you doing
base.
that, Lawrence? Can I just ask?
Because I see
Can I
the
just
same
ask,
thing.
Lawrence? Are you
I
doing
see
that?
the same thing.
Do you want
you?
Because I
Arteta-
see the same mistakes. Because I see the same mistakes happening every season, right? And nothing's done to rectify this. Every time, failing to sign the players needed to strengthen us in the transfer market so that we can challenge Man City.
Can I just ask, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Lawrence, so my question to you is then, am I understanding it then? Would you like to see the back of Arteta and Edu?
If we end up without a trophy again this season, with no league title and with no Champions League, then he has to go. No ifs, buts, or maybes. What
about
right
today?
does this guy have to?
What do you want today?
I mean,
In or out?
I don't.
Do you want?
He's,
Are you happy
he's
that he
out.
got a new
He's
contract,
out.
or do you wish?
No,
Sorry.
because he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything since winning the FA Cup, which wasn't his thing, by the way.
So you want
This
him
is
out?
his squad. Okay, I want him out, right? And as I said, if again, no trophies at the end of this year, he has to go. You know, this process has run its course, right? I see no progression whatsoever. I see the same failings in the transfer market every season, right? This time, this guy has got to go. I'm tired of hearing about a dog is going to improve us. I'm tired of seeing amplifiers being stuck around the training pitch with "You Never Walk Alone" being played out live just so that it improves us against Liverpool. This man has not done anything. One FA Cup in 5 years does not make him a great manager, and he has failed. From this up until this moment, he has failed.
Okay. Can I ask you a second question, please? So you've
Okay.
identified a problem in Mikel Arteta and Edu in the management and stuff. You know what you just said about the club. What would be your solution to that problem?
I'd bring someone with a bit more experience.
Such as?
I know it's highly unlikely, but an Ancelotti or someone of that ilk. I've been through this process for 5 fucking years, and I've seen no improvement whatsoever. We've won
Okay,
no
let's
trophies.
say you get your way. You get your way. You wake up tomorrow morning and Arsenal for fired Mikel Arteta. And then what do? Like, they send an email to Real Madrid and say, "Hi, we would like Carlo
Permission.
Ancelotti to be our manager, please."
Yeah.
What happens next?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, right? But as I said, I've seen in 5 years absolutely nothing. The same bullshit
I hear what you're
every
saying,
year,
right?
right?
Like, this is what I'm saying, right, Lawrence? You've identified a problem in your mind, right? And I get that. You've identified a problem, and that's fine. But what is the solution then? How? If it's not Mikel Arteta and Edu, then what are you saying that we should be doing? Don't talk about what is wrong. Tell me what we should be doing to make it right.
We should be bringing in a
And
manager or
at the
coach.
moment, we're sending emails to Carlo Ancelotti that are just going straight into his spam folder.
Ray, can you put
We
the
should
Hold on,
be
hold on,
bringing
hold
in
on.
a manager.
Which one?
We should be
Yes,
bringing in a
comment.
manager or coach who's got more experience. Okay, it doesn't have to be
He has.
Ancelotti. I know
He
he's
has,
not going
right?
to come. It could be
Well, then
Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I
It
did
could be
already.
anyone.
Jurgen Klopp.
What
This
so
one.
if Jurgen Klopp was available, you're telling me
It's not
you wouldn't
available.
take him?
It's not available. So it's not
Okay,
even on
I
what-
the
said
table,
if
is
it
it?
was available.
Hold on. Let me
He's
ask
not.
you one question. Let me ask you one question.
I'm available.
Did you say Jurgen Klopp, Lawrence? Did you say Jurgen Klopp?
I said if he was available.
Okay. Did he come second to City twice?
Okay, so
Did he? Yes, he
So
did.
what-
Right. He came
Yeah.
second to Pep Guardiola twice in the league.
and
The same as Mikel Arteta. Came second to Pep Guardiola twice.
he's got
But-
more
but-
experience than Arteta.
Which
How many years
one?
has-
What?
How many years has
This is
Arteta been a manager?
No, Lawrence.
How
hold
many
on.
years has Klopp
Lawrence.
been a manager?
Hold on,
Right,
Lawrence. This is
Ray,
a
didn't Klopp win
results-based
a
business,
championship?
Lawrence. This is a
Checkmate, Ray.
results-based
Ray,
business.
I like that. Ray, that was a good checkmate.
No, Lawrence, this is a
That's-
results-based business. You know, Jurgen Klopp came second to Pep Guardiola, but now he's worthy to take Arteta's place. Arteta came second to Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, but
Took it to the final day as well
Cook-
of a season.
Klopp-
Ray, have you
Klopp-
ever considered a career selling timeshare? I'm
No,
serious.
I haven't.
I'd
No.
buy 2 weeks off you right now. Red time.
Lawrence,
well,
okay,
red
I
time.
get it. Jurgen
Hey,
Klopp has
and-
got a
and
lot
two
more
bags of
experience,
Monster
but
Mash then.
the results against City have been in the league similar to
Right.
Jurgen Klopp.
You-
Tony, you're
forgetting-
totally you're playing you're Tony's opened up a second front against me. A pincer movement. A pincer move here, Tony. Go ahead, Tony.
You're forgetting something, right?
What?
Klopp added a Premier League trophy to the trophy case.
Yeah.
And going to what BX said here, we were in fourth, 75% chance to finish in the top four. We blew it twice that season
Yeah.
against Spurs.
Yeah.
We were ahead at Christmas, lost the title. Ahead of Christmas, lost the title. So how the fuck is that progression?
Progression.
He hasn't progressed. He's got
Tony.
better players,
Tony.
and he's had happy accidents every year.
Tony, we were very, very bad 4 seasons ago. We finished 8th place. We won an FA Cup to salvage our season. Something that Ten Hag gets lauded about, that he won a cup. You know, Lawrence, you can't have it both ways. Earlier, you mentioned Ten Hag has won a cup, 2 cups.
He's won 2 cups.
Yes,
He's won more trophies than Arteta. So if Ten Hag is the worst manager in the world, then what is Arteta?
You want Ten Hag? You're gonna bring Ten Hag over because he's
No,
won
I don't want
trophies
that.
in a row.
So
So
you're
then
mixing,
it's nothing to do with the
my
trophies.
words.
Then
So
it's
you're
not the
mixing
trophies.
my words again,
It's
right?
not. No.
You're
You
mixing
just
the
said
words, my words again,
why are you bringing up his
right?
trophies then? You brought his trophies up.
This is
I'm
wild.
just saying, right? Everyone
This is wild.
is saying how great a manager Arteta is. Yeah, he's only won 1 trophy in 5
All right.
years.
Wild, man.
While
So,
Ten
Lawrence,
Hag, who's supposedly the worst manager in the league, has won 2 trophies in 2 seasons. And you may scoff and laugh as all you like, right? But you know I'm right.
You don't
Okay.
want
This
that
is wild.
coach,
You're-
so it doesn't matter.
Scoff and
No,
laugh.
You don't
You're
want
right.
You don't
Two
want
is
Ten
more than
Hag.
one.
So
So
it doesn't.
if Arteta,
He's not a good. He is not a good comparison in this situation
Oh.
because you don't want him. If you
You
wanted
know.
him, I might say, all right, that sounds like a good argument for
I've
it.
never
But
said
why
I
we
wanted
want a
Ten
player?
Hag.
Why
I
we want a
just
coach
said
like Ten
Ten
Hag
Hag
who wins
is the
trophies that we don't
is the
care,
worst
you don't care
manager in the
about?
league. So you make you see your problem, Gary, is you're mixing people's
I'm
words
just
up.
going with what you're
So they
saying.
agree
I'm telling
with
you
your
what.
agenda.
Why are you bringing
he's
up
not.
That's
a
what
coach
Lawrence,
that
what
doesn't
your
he's
matter?
problem is, pal. And I've noticed it on several occasions. I haven't
He's
said
not.
anything about it in the past, but that's what you tend to do, right? I'm just saying, right? Mikel Arteta, 1 FA Cup in 5 years. Ten Hag in 2 seasons at Man United, where his football's been shit. Okay, he's won an FA Cup and a League Cup.
Okay, so listen, I'm going to ask you a question, Lawrence. What does Mikel Arteta have to do to make him level with Ten Hag? Win
I
a
don't want him
Carabao
to
Cup?
be level. I want him to be better than
No,
Ten
no,
Hag.
no. Hold on. You just said Ten Hag has
This is
been more
wild.
successful than Mikel Arteta. Right? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Did you say Ten Hag has been more successful than Mikel Arteta?
No, I just said I did not say successful. I just said he's the worst manager in the Premier League, and he's won an FA Cup and a League Cup in 2
Okay.
seasons.
Okay.
And everyone wants him out at Man United.
Okay.
Yet Mikel Arteta, who's
so
been
my
at
question-
Arsenal for
Lawrence, my question is, what does Mikel Arteta have to do to equal Ten Hag's achievements?
he has to win a league title and a Champions League.
Why a league title? If Ten Hag won a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup, surely to get equal, Arteta would just have to win a Carabao
But
Cup.
why are you saying that he has to be as equal as Ten
You're
Hag?
the one that's mentioned.
That's
Ten
your
Hag.
measurement. That's your
You
measurement.
mentioned
You're
it.
using that measurement.
Yeah, you used
You're
this.
the one using that as a measurement, right? We're just playing by your rules now.
We didn't mention
I just
Ten
said-
Hag.
We're
You
using
did.
your measurement system. So what Ray is saying that is all we have to do is win the Carabao Cup and we're level with Ten Hag if you're using that as a measurement system. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I'm shit at maths as well.
So my question,
But if you think
well,
You
You're
just
telling
use that,
me
you
I
just
want
use that as a
Arteta to
measurement
be
in success,
on the
right?
same
That's what
level
you
as
did.
Ten
You
Hag,
just use that
then
as a
you don't know
measurement
what
in
you're talking about.
success. You're using that as a
If
measurement
you
of
think I want
by that
Arteta on the
calculation.
same level as Ten Hag, then you don't know what you're talking about.
well, we didn't mention Ten Hag. You did.
Right. Because I'm trying to build up a comparison, but you're mixing everything up.
No,
You're
we're
mixing my
playing
words.
we're playing by your
How are we
rules.
mixing your
No,
words?
I'm just saying. No, what? Forget it. I mean, as I said, you can't see it, so I'm not going to waste my time.
But
I'm
Lawrence,
tired of this bullshit.
okay. No, it's not. It's Lawrence. We all want the same thing at the end of the day. You're just coming at it with a different mindset than we are. You know what I mean? I'm
making my point, but people are talking over me, not giving me an opportunity to speak, and think it's fucking hilarious. So
I don't
I'm
think so,
just
Lawrence.
not gonna-
I think that you've had a big opportunity to speak, and I think that a lot of people were quiet, and you had quite a lot to say, and everybody listened to you. So you keep saying that people are talking over you, but I've not seen that to be the case.
No.
I think you've had a good opportunity to speak, and if you think I'm wrong, you can rewind it and watch it yourself.
Yeah,
It's right there. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
you're
right
the one
there. You
who
can rewind
mentioned-
it and watch it yourself. And
You're
to
the
say
one
that
that mentioned Ten
we're
Hag.
we're debating here, right? And you used the logic about Ten Hag winning 2 cups, one being an FA Cup, one being a Carabao Cup, right? That's what the measurement that you used. And Ray correctly said to you, in that instance, if Mikel Arteta has already won an FA Cup, all he has to do, using your metric, is to win a Carabao Cup, and he'll be on a level pecking with Ten Hag. And you're saying that we're twisting your words. How's that twisting your words? They were your words. And again, you can rewind this back and watch it. So it's okay that we can have a debate, but don't start like having it wrong and saying that we're doing this and we're doing that, because that isn't the case.
We're not trying to stitch you up. We're
allowing you to have your say, and you've had your say. But we are allowed to come back and question it, right? And all we have done is use your metric to prove a point, and they don't like it.
So this season, Arteta could very well win a Carabao Cup, which, by February we could say, he's on a level playing field with Ten Hag by your metric system, by your comparison, Lawrence. Listen, I get it. You want to go a different direction than Mikel Arteta. I just find it interesting why do you get frustrated about the situation if you know the club's not going to make a change?
You're entitled to have your opinion, but we're also entitled, or I'm entitled, to not agree with you. That's the way it is.
And we're not talking over you right now, so you have an opportunity to speak, Lawrence.
I just find it so frustrating that we see the same errors each season with this manager, and yet nobody criticises him except for myself and Stan at certain times. Okay, everyone defends this manager and this sporting director to the hill.
Tony.
Okay, all right, Tony. I apologise. I'll get you a box of crayons. All right, my apologies. But
it better be a 60.
I mean, as I said, it's just so frustrating that
Lawrence,
some of us can see.
Lawrence, I think we're all of a similar age here, so it's not old school versus new school.
I spent quite a lot of time on this particular broadcast criticising the manager in the transfer market and not having enough cover, and the numbers not adding up.
I know.
Listen, right, Lawrence, I'm like this, right? There are times when I can praise the manager when I like what I'm seeing, but I'm also of the equal mind that when I see something that I don't like, I can criticise him. I'm not wedded to one or the other. I was never a hashtag Arteta in or a hashtag Arteta out, because I can change with my views depending on what I see. I hated it when I heard that we were signing Danny Welbeck. I use this as an example. Hated it. It was disgusting. Is that the level of this club? But as a player, watching how hard he worked, I like the guy. I warmed to him. That what I'm saying is that my mind changed because of what I was seeing, and that's just who I am. Do you know what I mean? I can like a manager, but I can also fall out of love with him. I didn't want him to appoint Mikel Arteta. I was like, is that where we're going? Yeah. And there was at one point, and you can go back and watch some of these podcasts where I used like a percentage scale. I was at like 80 to 90% that I wanted him gone and 10% that he was in. But he's earned my respect and what he's doing for the club. That's just my opinion. If he hasn't earned yours, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. It's up to you. But, I'm not a devout Arteta in and will turn a blind eye to things that I see that I don't like. That's just not my personality. But
the other thing as well is
I'm going to call it out.
I'm not to harp on about Ten Hag, but can I just say one thing about Ten Hag? He won an FA Cup also with a team that was not his players. So if you're going to say Mikel Arteta won an FA Cup with a team that was not his players, Ten Hag also did the same thing. So listen,
can I ask Stan a question?
Of course.
Yep.
Stan, did you see that video that Edu posted last week on transfer deadline day when it was getting close to the final hour? He bought everyone beer and pizza and laughing about
Instagram.
how on Instagram. Did you see
Right.
that video?
How to be
No,
down
How
the
he
pub.
thought it was
Yeah.
amusing that we did it.
He thought it was amusing that what?
That we didn't bring in all the signings.
So
He
basically,
thought it was a joke.
he went from room to room. There was about 4 different rooms, and he was introducing people, and they were just hanging around. They weren't doing too much work. Didn't look like, and he was joking around. Oh, this lady will be down the pub in the next hour or so, where we're getting ready to go out for a drink now. And it just didn't. You're right, Lawrence. It didn't create a good look.
I didn't see
You
it.
know, you
I
could
didn't
watch
see
it
it.
as an Ars. You could watch it as an Arsenal fan and say they should have been working. They should have been bringing a player in. You know what I mean? Um,
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Didn't see the context. I don't know if they were taking the piss.
he was
Yeah.
joking around a little bit.
And if they
Edu
were
was
taking the
joking
piss,
around.
it's going to be taken out of context. But I can't comment because I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Didn't.
Yeah.
I'll look for it. I didn't even know about it.
Okay.
Lawrence, the plain fact of it is that you have the club has went a direction that was innovative 4 or 5 years ago. We brought a coach in with no managerial experience, which to people of our age was an absolutely new innovation. And it happened at our football club, Arsenal Football Club. And look,
And right, you're forgetting that 18 months earlier, he declined the job because they
okay,
wouldn't give him as much power as he wanted to bring in players.
okay.
So
Irrespective, Unai Emery came in to follow one of our greatest managers that we've ever had in Arsene Wenger. The final years of Arsene Wenger's managerial career was quite bad. We limped through with a couple of FA Cups, but it was time for Arsene Wenger to leave, and he gracefully left. I mean,
but
probably a season or two too late for many of us, but
oh,
he gracefully left.
most of us wanted Klopp. That happened.
Or Pep. We had an opportunity maybe to get Pep Guardiola as well. The club didn't do it. The club was not in a situation. Let's also remember there was an ownership struggle. There was a boardroom struggle where I think fairly you would not want the Cronkies to invest in something that was not 100% theirs. You would not invest fully in a business that you only owned less than 50% of, and you didn't have a controlling
So,
Pep
interest.
wouldn't have been able to do what he wanted to do at Arsenal. Pep being at Man City and their ownership, that's all hand in glove. It all works perfectly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ray,
Yeah.
how many pitchforks would be out the end of a season if there's not a title this season? Because that's what everybody's reasoning of getting rid of Wenger
Right.
because we
What?
weren't winning
Yeah. Listen.
titles. So how
I
long can
will
you
tell
keep
you.
persisting?
I will tell you, and we'll go around, Gary, Tony, Dan. I will tell you that my needle will move a little bit if we don't win a trophy this season. Right? I'm not going to say I want. It'll come down, as Stan's as framed before. It'll come down to circumstances of what happens, how things transpire this season.
The
If we
manner of
lose
the losses,
games,
right? It's the manner of the losses, isn't
the
it?
manner of the losses.
I accept that my team will lose football matches. We only,
Yeah.
we've only
What?
done invincible once. It's the manner of the loss. It's the manner of the loss.
Yeah, my needle will move 10 or 15%. If Lawrence, if you have to dip out, that's fine. No problem at all, Lawrence. If we don't win a trophy of any kind this season, my needle will move 10 or 15%.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it's time. Lawrence has voiced 5 seasons. Yes, we need to have visceral success at the club, and that is. I've said it before. I said Manchester United had a good season. They won a Carabao Cup. I said it. They had a good season. I have to say the same last season. When you bring a trophy home, you've had a good season. You've won something. You might have had a terrible league campaign, but when you win a trophy, you've won something and it's a success. So my needle will move 10 or 15% if we do not win a trophy. And I accept the numbers of Arteta outers will grow again. You know what I mean? Um, Gary, what's your thoughts on if we don't win a trophy this season?
Yeah, we don't win. I mean, people don't like it, but there is context to it. So I will look at it as a whole. I am Arsenal. As we talk about Arteta in, Arteta out, I'm more Arsenal in. Whatever's best for Arsenal. If they feel like they, whatever he does at the end of the season, he can improve on it. So be it. But from day one, I was just get somebody more seasoned in. They chose not to. So all right. So now we're gonna jump. I'm gonna follow my team. So I'm gonna cheer for them to be successful. If your first 5 seasons in a league with Klopp and Pep, you're able to finish second twice, I'm not sure how you look at that and go, that's poor, because nobody in their first 5 years is going against two of the best managers in the world and finishing second twice. I don't think
Uh,
it's happened.
Sorry, Gary, can I
And if
just say
there
one
is,
thing?
it's a one-off,
Hold on,
because people will
Gary,
bring up a
just one
name.
thing.
Yeah.
Just hold on a sec. Why is Boise's comments being deleted? I don't see that he's doing anything wrong, but Boise's always been here and always been cool. So,
I'm not deleting anything.
well, nobody's deleting anything. So, just Boise's cool here. So, if anything's happening, just
I'm
don't
not
do it.
deleting anything. I'm not an administrator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes YouTube just doesn't let you post.
Sorry, Gary, to cut you off, but I did
Yeah,
just
no.
want to say that.
Yeah, it's weird
go
because I
ahead,
don't
Gary.
even see any.
Sometimes they don't pop up.
Yeah, I don't see it. Like I'm looking in the.
Well, we're getting them now. We're getting his comments now,
That's
but
weird. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't know why.
sorry,
Like
Gary.
yeah, it says it's getting retracted, but we saw that from Colonel a while back, and we didn't know what that was because he wasn't
Yeah.
doing that. I don't believe so.
Nobody's doing anything to you, Boise, from our side. It could be YouTube. Sorry, Gary. Sorry for
Yeah,
cutting you off.
yeah. No, like I said, I am what's best for Arsenal. He has a squad that can get him a trophy. I have no doubt about it, even with the injuries we have. Players will come back eventually. He will have to learn how to play with the ones he's got. I mean, if you have a team that has a back line that so far is holding up, if you have a front line that we have, you have to figure out how to get that midfield to work. That's his job. I mean, he's got
Mhm.
more than enough people on the squad and in the squad to figure out how to get a midfield to work and connect the back line to the front line. I mean, that's on him. He's got to do that. He has no choice but to get that working, regardless of who's in there. So can he get a trophy? Yes, he can get a trophy out of this thing. And like I said, if we play one game at a time, we try to win every game. We'll see how it goes at the end of this thing. Players will come in and out of the lineup. They'll just have to make do with what he's got. So that's kind of the progression that he needs to make, and I think that's the thing that's been holding him back. He hasn't been willing to trust anybody else with the keys, and he needs to do that because we don't have a choice now, right? When he gets forced, he does it, and a lot of times we succeed, right? We've seen Saka come out of a game early, and we've seen Nelson go in and perform, right? We've seen Rice come out of a game, and we're still able to hold on. So,
Mhm.
you know, it. I think we've got what we need right now. This is what they want to do. It's not going to be easy, but he's going to have to make it work. So yeah, if he doesn't get a trophy, yeah, I mean, kind of in your line, I would be more leaning away from like, oh yeah, we just keep him for no reason. I, but as anybody has said, there isn't an answer out there right now. And if there is an answer out there, guess are they going to take the players that we got and work with them? I always think that's the best mark of a manager. They can take whatever you give them and make it work.
Yeah.
There's not that many managers out there that do that right now. And if they are, they're in their they're in their twilight
Yeah.
years, and
I think
they're not leaving.
I think the evolution of Mikel Arteta was he was able to use the existing players he had when he came in. Was able to get a 2-0 out of them and get an FA Cup. We beat Man City in the semi-final and Chelsea in the final of the FA Cup. Now, were they players that were going to stay for the duration of their Arsenal career? No, Mikel Arteta move to use the windows to revitalize and rehash the whole squad. The issue now is we stepped up a few more levels. We've talked about this, going beyond Zinchenko and Jesus, who were good 2 years ago for us, and now we've deemed them indispensable. We're trying to beat a bigger Goliath now in Man City and Pep Guardiola, and I think it's unfair to put Ten Hag's achievements against Arteta's. Although you can do that, it's unfair because it's two different genres, two different environments. Sorry, Tony. What's your thoughts on this season if Mikel Arteta does not get a trophy?
I think he's had the keys to the castle. He's been able to sign who he's been wanting to sign. I don't think he's actually progressed. The team has, because they've gotten better players, but it's all these happy accidents that have happened. Last year, Havertz would still been in the midfield, but Jesus didn't get hurt. You can't tell me any difference, right?
I will say one thing. Why is Mikel Arteta always having happy accidents? Why is he having Why is he not having
Because he's fucking
unhappy?
stubborn.
He's not having
He's
unhappy accidents. I think
Stubborn.
he's progressed over the 4 or 5 years that he's moved us up in points. Anyway, continue.
I think we're players have pushed us up there. Like I said earlier, we wanted Wenger out because we wanted to win the trophies, win the league. We were in a fight for fourth. We fell short. Fighting the first for first, failed. Fighting the first and failed. And we were all three of those instances in the league, in the lead, and ended up blowing it. And he did something really weird because him and Adu in that winter window when we didn't sign anybody, when we sold Niles and let Chambers go, I don't think we actually ended up getting any money for Chambers. But he did that when he could have had gummy bears. He didn't go for that. And they said, "Oh, we don't want to sign the wrong player to mess up a project." But I think they did that with Havertz because they were persistent with him so much in the midfield last year.
Yeah.
If they made that switch earlier, we would have got the title pretty easily, I think.
See,
He's still so stubborn. That's
I think we've done so much good. I think he's done so many things that are right and very few that are wrong. And it's Arsenal fans, they'll take all the good that he can give them, and then ask for that extra 10%. And look, maybe he can get it. Stan?
For me, I just think that I keep talking about how the numbers don't add up when it comes to the players in and players out, but the numbers also don't add up when it comes to the money that we've made. You know, we made about 95 million in the Champions League. We made about 100 million on players that we managed to get rid of. We also made money for finishing second in the league. But our net spend is like something like £29 million, 28 million. I don't know what it is. It's, you know, I just think that if you're finishing second twice, and especially last season with how close we were to Man City, then you've got to go big again. And I don't think that we did quite go big in the window to do enough to close the gap, is my personal opinion. I felt that we were short before the window shut. Remember, we kept having these podcasts during the window, and I kept saying, "Oh, well, the window's still open. Anything can happen."
Yeah.
Can't happen now. And my opinion is that we don't have enough. So if we get into a position and we're 8 points behind, to get to City, especially with the kind of injury history that we have, you know, that means that we have to be perfect for the rest of the season and make up points and hope for them to drop points. I just don't see it happening. There will be further bumps in the road for us. Do you know what I mean?
Stan, would you go for Rabiot since he's available?
As I said earlier, it's not that I wouldn't go for him, but I just believe that Mikel Arteta is that kind of person that it's not a case of bringing in a body.
Yeah.
He's more about
You
personality.
Yeah.
If that person's gonna, upset the dressing room in
Are
any way,
we?
like you said, Tony, is his mum going to be walking around saying like, "Yeah, we don't like these kind of Lucozade. We want a different drink." I don't know. I'm just, you know what I mean. But he's not that kind of
I
guy
just think
that will like smash glass and pull
Yeah.
the emergency button
Yeah.
to bring someone in.
I
He's not
just
like that.
think
I don't
I
think.
think we're very disciplined. I think we're very disciplined. Edu and Arteta are very disciplined. If I was to pose to you, we didn't do anything this summer because next summer we can get Isak. Would that make you feel a little bit better?
Yeah, we spoke about this before, and I was also reading that Jonathan David is a free agent come the summer as well. But as I said, if we've got the money, and we did have the money, it looked to me, and also as well with the financial fair play and all of that stuff, from what I understand, that we're not in a problem in that area. We're not like, dancing a tightrope there. If we finished that close to City, we should have put our foot down on the accelerator just a little bit more. Let's put that pressure on now.
What?
It's all right saying we could get Isak next summer, but who knows what's going to happen between now and then with them?
Who would you have got?
Everyone's talking about 115. Looks of it, it's like by the end of the season, they're not going to have points taken away from them. The Premier League could probably give them more points. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here you go. Here you go.
I have another 20 points. We were wrong.
Sorry
Sorry to drag you through the mud. I have another 20 points.
Would you have taken Gyökeres?
It
looked like Osimhen. Nobody wanted Osimhen. Nobody wanted Ivan Toney.
But again, I mean, Ivan Toney had, we're not going to go for Toney. Who's going to pay 80 million for him? He didn't go for 80 million to Saudi Arabia, but there was a conversation between him and Edu, as I understand, and I don't know what he did in that meeting, but it didn't, we didn't swoop in, did we, and say, all right, you don't want to go to Saudi Arabia, you can come to us. We'll pay the 40 million, but we're not going to pay you these wages, but you can come to Arsenal. Yeah. He would have done that. He probably would have went, yeah, all right, but we didn't do that.
It does seem a little bit like...
If we didn't do that, why would we go for Rabiot?
Seems a little bit like the Kroenke said, you got your big signing last summer, Declan Rice. We paid over 105 million. This summer has got to be about recouping some of that money and bringing down the net spend.
Yeah, but
I would agree with that if we actually sold those players early in the window. We tried to sell them. I mean, we had opportunities to sell Nketiah earlier, and a couple of weeks or so before we actually sold him right on the last day. We didn't want to. We were like, oh wait, we're off by about $3 million here. Nope, can't do it. And it's like, are you kidding me? Right? If I have a player, a team that wants him to go there, you sell him, right? Nelson, I mean, all of those things were late in the day things, and guess what? That could have been the time spent haggling over a couple mil could have been the difference in maybe getting another player for the front line, another player for the midfield. That backup behind Erdogan if they existed. There was options there. We didn't take any advantage of that, right? At one point, we looked like we're going to bring in 4 goalkeepers, right? That's how crazy it was getting, right? It looked like we were going to bring in 4 goalkeepers. Guess what? We brought in 3, right? We signed one. We signed one.
Yeah, line. I got
it.
So we could have. We were.
I win bingo.
We could have had a 5-on-5 center backs versus goalkeeper.
No. I mean, I said
we do build from the back out, don't we?
No, you know what? We keep building from the back.
Put one and go at one time.
You know what? The back is big. Badonkadonk, remember? You ever heard that? Badonkadonk? That's what we got. It just goes all the way back, dude. We're a little light up top, right? Yeah. Up top, we're light.
In the middle,
we know this, and we didn't.
We got a broken training.
If you can get, I
had to lay awake now, putting boot polish in his hair. That hair is going to be perfect on Sunday. Yeah, listen. It's not ideal, indeed.
But
for me,
but based on what Stan said, Ray, why can't we go for that player? Because we did get the second place money. We have the Champions
Yeah,
League money.
yeah. We're not short. I mean, we got. I think it was 93 million, something like that, for a Champions League quarterfinal. We got something similar for coming second. Difference between first and second in prize money is not a lot in the Premier League, and that money went into a war chest or went somewhere. You know what I mean? Steven said,
Pay off a loan on the stadium since
but
you can't take
somebody
the
has
loans
said
out.
that neither Liverpool, Man City, or Arsenal really went big this summer on any big players. Somebody said that before. It's curious.
Oh,
Maybe they know something about PSR rules coming down or something like that. You know what I
well,
mean?
we're under a watch list. Lots of teams are.
Yeah. What about
You,
the other?
you,
The other
you,
two teams are not. You know what I mean?
but
Liv-
you've seen Aston Villa, you've seen
mm.
Newcastle pay these inflated prices and sold players for
Uh,
inflated prices to balance the books.
for me, our objectives have to change with the window, says Stephen. We had first, we have to make top four, which is not guaranteed. I think you'd have to have a really poor season now with this Arsenal squad to not finish in the top four. Uh, we need to win a domestic cup. I think that's pretty high on the agenda. Champions League definitely is too big of a step with the size of the squad we have. We, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong a million times over. I don't think we're going to win the Champions League this season. I hope I'm wrong a million times over. And there's our four opportunities: two domestic cups, European football, and the Premier League. And look, it looks pretty daunting right now with our injury list, but it is Tottenham. Let's keep it in perspective. We're definitely capable of getting 3 points at Tottenham. It's definitely, they are not that intimidating team. We went there
It's
in spring. We went there in the spring and beat them comprehensively 3-2. We beat them comprehensively 3-2. You know, give up a penalty at the end of the day. The goalkeeper made a mistake for one of the goals, but we beat them comprehensively, and that's not being mistaken about that.
yeah,
Um, the whole thing. Listen, Mikel Arteta's got himself his new contract. There's a question mark there about hunger. I heard a podcast earlier talking about, well, that's Mikel Arteta now comfortable and he's not in fear of his job. I think the desire to win doesn't come from security. It comes from inside what's behind your chest plate. It comes from your heart. If you have desire to go and win things, and I think Mikel Arteta has that desire, he wouldn't have done the things that he's done in the last 4 years, pushed out certain players that were there on high contracts and not living up to their weekly wages. He wouldn't have done all those things if he didn't want to win. I think Mikel Arteta's he's got to have pressure. He's putting pressure on himself to be better. He's putting pressure on the squad to be better,
but
and he wants to be better than Pep.
but Emery was shutting out the same players, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Aubameyang, he didn't go until he got a fight with whoever in the coaching staff he got in a physical altercation with.
Yeah.
My money's still on that he actually got in a fight with Arteta.
So listen, Gary and Stan, get your thoughts on this as well. People think you follow some bad news with some good news. Do you think that's definitely the case, Gary? The club follows. We've had some bad news with injuries and our transfer window. Now let's announce Mikel Arteta with a new extension. Is it a
That's
PR?
not
Is it a
that's
PR
not good
thing?
news for me. If that's what they meant when they said, "Oh, we have a surprise coming," well, you failed. I'm sorry, you failed. So
Gary was
yeah,
hoping for a new tracksuit top.
yeah. You know what? You know what I got? I got a string bikini, and I don't wear string bikinis, and nobody wants to see me in a string bikini. So
I do.
you know, Not touching that. No, I
Stan has this big
If
Sorry.
Arsenal,
I'd love
hey,
to see that.
trifold poster.
I would.
if Arsenal
Gary
gets 6
Infantino.
points for the next 2 league games, Gary will wear a string bikini.
oh man,
And heels.
and heels. Nah, you know we
And
can't
fishnet tights.
do it. I think the problem, you know what people will say.
There's a vision.
People will say when they'll say when Liverpool lost in that Champions League,
You
right?
keep your hat on.
If that was Arsenal,
6 inches.
the way
Yeah.
a lot of fans act, it's over, right? That's it, right? If you say
Yeah.
no, it's not. That's not the way we do things here. Oh no. They want us to be big time. Oh please, I shouldn't even brought that up. That just sorry. That just
Gary, listen, I'll be
you
fair,
know
right?
better.
We're all trying to listen to you right now, but seriously, everyone is thinking about something else right now.
no. I
Was it
know.
pink?
We're
Gary,
trying.
was it pink,
We're
red, or
trying
black?
to, I'm trying to listen, but
Was it pink, red, or
I'm
black?
just thinking of that Tom
Gary.
Jones song. Was it "You Can Keep Your Hat On"?
What's your favorite color, Tony? Pink or red,
You
Tony?
know what? This has just gone downhill.
Hot
Polka dot.
pink, Ray.
No, this is
Hot pink.
You wouldn't see the polka dots, Stan.
That's
It's a
right.
string bikini.
oh my god.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know
I'm
where I don't know
fine.
where that came from. Sorry, people. You guys are all gonna have
Sorry,
to be.
Gary. Please continue. I'm
Got
sorry.
Tony's attention, Gary. You got Tony's attention.
I don't want Tony. Go away.
I hear Benny Hill
Gary-
music
Gary-
now.
Gary's always trying to
The old
get
man
rid
in
of
the
me.
wheelchair.
He invites me on every Monday, but he keeps trying to kick me out.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't
Teases
know.
you. He teases you every Monday.
Oh,
Of
man.
course, Arteta's a winner mentality-wise. I even think that sometimes he goes overboard with his winning mindset, with some of his ideas like pickpockets, etc. Yeah, listen.
You know what that is?
I was going to say that when Lawrence was like going on. It's like, Lawrence, you have to worry about where your wallet is getting it as well.
Yeah, listen.
I mean, that's such a fucking weird thing to do.
Some of the things that Mikel Arteta does is a little bit cringe worthy, but the pickpockets and the Anfield music on the training ground, but the players buy into it. The players are not acting like they're at Chelsea. You know what I mean?
And
yeah,
I'm
we're gonna-
not sure. I'm not sure if these winter trips to Dubai or Saudi Arabia, wherever we go in oil lands,
A light
I'm not
bulb.
sure that helps. I'm not sure that helps the team.
Oh my God, the light bulb. Indeed. Listen, some of the things Mikel Arteta does is a little bit different, but the players buy into it, for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
still taking a Gary in the bikini.
Darren Brown and Dynamo running around the training ground, like doing all their tricks on the players.
I know.
David Blaine.
All right, Gary, I'm going to stop showing these comments. Gary currently
I'm
has his
trying
Man
not
City.
even. I'm not even looking anymore. It's, you keep saying I'm not going to show any, but you keep putting the more out.
No, after that click.
After that one. Okay,
Yeah,
after that one.
That, like just one more. That was just one more.
Mom. One more ride, please.
Can you imagine if somebody
Did
out
you-
there in the Can you imagine if somebody out there in the chat box who's a lot better than me at doing like Photoshops was to do a Photoshop of Gary's
Where's John Smythe winning meeting?
bikini? I'm not saying that it would
Yeah,
happen.
John-
but
You know what?
John-
Yeah, this is what is it? Cut the show, Dave.
Get John
come on.
Smythe.
Let's
Get
get
John
out of
Smythe
here.
on it, Tony.
Sounds like a good time to end this show.
Should I direct message John?
No, you're all right,
Yeah.
Tony. Just
We are about to end the show. I will just say one thing.
Let's do a quick vote.
no
Quick
votes.
On what?
John Smythe photoshopping Gary and Tippy.
So if I could,
All right.
before we, so what's score? Anyone got score predictions? Score
Tony,
predictions.
we could do a vote and you'd still do it if you got overruled. 2-1. I'll go 2-1, Stan.
Look, to Arsenal away from home.
Yeah.
2-1.
2-1 Arsenal away
Chat
from home.
box. What's your score predictions for the North London derby?
and then
Gary?
we'll get out of
Who's
here.
going?
I got 2-0 for 2-0.
To Arsenal.
Alonzo, what's your scoreline, Alonzo?
You're that good of a team. Last I looked.
What have you got? 2-0? Gary? Yeah.
Yep,
Tony?
2-0.
2-1, or it should be a 1-1. I think 2-1.
2-1. Okay. Stan?
I'm not. I'm nervous.
You're not making a prediction?
I'm
What are you gonna say?
nervous. No, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm nervous, but I'm going to go for a draw.
2-1, says Stefan.
I'm going to go for a
Uh,
draw, but I'm
can't have
nervous.
two-
I'm
No,
being kind
Stan,
when I
no.
say a draw.
We can't
I
have
just feel
the draw.
nervous.
3-1.
I feel very nervous about this.
It's the
Very
Australian.
nervous.
It's the Australian Tottenham manager. I forget what his name is again.
Oh, mate.
Mike.
It's just the way,
Mike.
It's just the way we
That's
play.
how we
mate.
play, mate.
That's how we play, mate. Talks like
You know what?
that.
We should
Games.
give them a good. We should
Lose
give
the
them a good
games.
spanking for how they didn't turn up against City.
Nothing
at the
would.
end of last
Nothing
season.
wouldn't. You know, it's on at 6 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm getting up for it.
Good.
Obviously, I want to get up for a win. My missus
Yeah.
is like, please win, because he's going to be fucking moody all day on Sunday as well. Do you know what I mean? So there's that as well. But I'm nervous. I'm just
Yes,
very
and-
nervous that these the two
agree.
players that we're missing are key. So key to what we do, aren't they? And then
Yeah.
obviously, you know, Martinelli's been, you know, off the boil, hasn't he? You know,
Yeah.
We've not managed to get a good tune out of him. We've got a new player in Sterling. Who a lot of, you know, when all of this, like, well, he's not going to start. Why can't he start? As I've said before, he's coming from Chelsea. He's coming from across the road. He's not coming from another league. He speaks English and he's been playing football for a long time. Why can't he start this game?
And Arteta knows him, and he probably trusts him.
So it's going to be interesting. You know, is access going to be, you know, given to Zinchenko to play in the midfield? Are we
Zinchenko.
going to see? We're going to see a defender playing in midfield. It's in Timber.
Yeah, he's on
It's going
lock.
to be interesting.
Zinchenko's a defender.
Or is
No,
Mikel
no,
Arteta
he's
going
not.
to go with Tony and he's going to play like five
Stop
at the back?
lying to us. Don't say that. He's not
knows?
a defender. He plays
All
one
right.
on TV, and
We'll leave it there. We'll do a bit of a roll call as we get out of here. Hopefully, we don't forget anybody. Red John was here. Throw in some names: Gary, Tony, Stan, Stefan was here.
Tiger and Gunnar.
Alonzo,
Obviously.
Tiger, and Gunnar. Thanks for being here. Red John, Brownie. Can't forget Brownie.
Boyce 88 was in the
Boyce.
house. Lonzo made it.
Boise.
Stefan, of course, was in here.
Yeah.
I think Riddy was in there earlier. Of
Riddy.
course, we got Brownie.
Tiger and
joining
Gunnar.
us.
Steven, the Arsenal misfit.
Yep.
So,
Big Gunnar
so
was
what
in here
time?
earlier.
What time is it for Brownie now?
Probably late
there
at
was a new
night.
guy. There was a new guy as well. There's something podcast. Remember?
Yeah,
Who was that?
the other
that?
side of the field or something podcast.
Trying
Yeah,
to find him.
BX Gunner, our moderator, who was timing out Boise. No, probably not timing out Boise.
Two Sides of the Pitch podcast.
You're trying to get people in trouble.
Two Sides of the Pitch podcast came in as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Check
welcome.
them out. I don't know who they are, but I'm going to check them out.
Tottenham,
Two Sides.
Tottenham guys.
Are they? Okay, I won't be
Yeah.
checking that out then. I just rescinded that. Cut that. Edit it out.
Ollie was in the
So-
Colonel's in the house,
Nobody
so-
go there.
Nobody
Nick-
go
Nick-
there.
Nick-
Don't
Nick-
go
Nick was
over
in the
there
house.
after this podcast.
Hawkwind was in
Yeah.
here.
Hawkwind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hawkwind. Stefan.
Bargav, you know what? Bargav had a question for me. Will the Gators win? I don't know. We'd like missing a lot of players, so this could be another bad
Stefan,
week.
Heathering, and Tino
for me.
Martinez.
Yeah.
Stefan.
All right,
All right.
we're out of here.
I think that's it, everybody.
That's it. That's a
We'll see you
wrap.
Sunday then, yeah?
We'll see you Sunday. Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah.
I might
So
actually do
Stan,
You know what I mean?
pre-game. Might actually do a pre-game
Yeah.
podcast because I'm
Luca
very
was in
interested
here.
about the
Yeah.
lineup.
Gary, you didn't watch along anywhere, Gary, with Ryan or anything like that?
Probably with Ryan if I'm doing it. It's the anniversary weekend, so not the
Anniversary of what? Oh, your anniversary.
Sunday.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Oh, congratulations.
So, yeah,
Chocolates,
thanks.
flowers.
So that's on Saturday. So, but I don't know if
Do
it
the
rolls
hoovering,
into the weekend.
Take the
You know how
garbage
that.
out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
so how long until the fourth one's out the door, Gary?
What do you mean
And-
out the door?
Upstairs in the morning.
She's in college now, dude.
Gary, Bucks fizz in the morning. Bucks fizz in the morning. Yeah. Bottle of prosecco, the fizzy, some orange juice in a champagne glass. Bucks fizz in the morning. There you go, darling.
All right.
You'll be set
So
for the day,
listen.
mate. You'll be set for the day. You can watch what you want. You can watch all the games. You'll be set for the day.
Red Lawrence, or here we go, Red Lawrence. Red John said, tell
Red
Lawrence
Lawrence.
to stop watching League Gunner. He's getting overly aggressive. Listen, it's like politics. If you like certain type of politics, you're gonna watch a certain podcast. So there you go.
He's a great guy.
You know, well, you know, Lawrence, he had his say,
China.
and he'll be back. Should have quoted this. Okay. All right, we'll get out of here. Tony, Gary, Stan, Lawrence, thanks for being here. And
Good night, Tony.
Not yet. Say good night.
I don't even. He's trained very well now. We finally.
It's like
Remember when
Pavlovian. It's like one of those Pavlovian dogs. He's too well trained.
Remember, Stan,
you're saying his catch line before Tony. You're the punch line, but you've got to get the lead in. All right. So let's try again. Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony. He does that perfectly. I remember once upon a time, Tony would just say yes or no. Those days are long, long ago. Take care, everyone.